This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Keep Food Simple. Do you have a busy, hectic lifestyle? Always on the go, too busy to cook, and find yourself eating way too much fast food? Keep Food Simple is a Southern California based food prep service that offers customized meals for all types. Whether you're a vegan, plant based, whole food, paleo, gluten free, keto, whatever it may be, Keep Food Simple has got you covered. It's time to take control of your health, boost your overall energy, and feel great about how you eat. Keep Food Simple offers delivery services in LA, San Bernardino, Orange County, and Riverside County. Orders can be placed at keepfoodsimpleprep.com. That's keepfoodsimpleprep.com. Use promo code ERB20 for 20% off your first week of meals. All right, guys, let's get into this podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave me a comment, let me know how I'm doing, what more you would like to hear about. Also, this whole herb session thing can be found on just about any platform now. It's on iTunes, as well as you Android users. It's going to be on SoundCloud. Everything will be linked in the video description. Thanks for listening. Appreciate all the support. Enjoy. And we're back. Welcome back, people and earthlings, to the podcast. I have one of my best buds in the world, Joseph Pasuto.
Hey, hello.
Hey.
Thank you very much
Hey,
for having
man.
us out here, man. I really do appreciate you hosting us. It's been awesome.
Absolutely, dude.
It's been awesome so far, and we're only halfway through.
Yeah, thank you for coming, man. Like, I invite everybody out here, everybody, and like we said before, nobody shows up.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's always like, I got, fair enough. You know, I got stuff to do, but you know, it's dong. You haven't tried that whiskey yet, huh?
No, I haven't. It's good.
So he's drinking, for those who are whiskey connoisseurs, that is Templeton Rye, the 6th year. And it's probably one of my favorite ones.
I like it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So far, I've shown you things that you've liked so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Proud of that.
we have similar taste.
Yeah.
I feel like when you can recommend me a drink, odds are I'm gonna like it.
Yeah. By the way, dude, has anybody told you look like Mike Vallely?
Mike
Or-
Vallely?
Or,
The skateboarder?
yeah, Ryan Dunn.
How though? I thought
Dude, you
Mike
got the-
Vallely was bald and no beard.
No, he is now. He
Nowadays, yes.
shaves
Not-
everything.
True. Right. Yeah.
But there was one point where he had his hair long and his beard long.
I don't remember that.
No?
No, my memory's bad though. I mean, I'm sure you could show me some some of his ads in like a Thrasher magazine when he had his hair long, and then I'd be like, oh, okay. But I don't really. Yeah, I don't have a hard time. Yeah, I have a hard time remembering things.
Dude, I remember everything.
You got a good memory. No, but you should take pride in that because it's tough to remember certain things, and especially, I mean, the older you get, right? It's just that's how it goes. I mean, the older you get, you've lived so much life that it's hard to keep track of stuff, and the fact that you have a good enough memory, like you said, that you could point out specific details from times when you were like a little kid, and your dad is even just like, man, how do you remember that? Like even your dad is like, I don't even remember that, you know, or something. It's something to be proud of.
Yeah, my dad trips out. He's like, dude, how do you remember all those little intricate details? I was like, I don't know. I just do.
It's a good thing.
It's always been like a very, I wouldn't say trade, but something I'm really good at. I don't know. Like a talent? I guess you would call it a talent? I don't know.
Just having a good memory.
Yeah, just having a good, sharp memory.
I mean, you can improve it. That is true. Like, I don't know if you actively work on it or not, but I mean, like, you know, obviously, you know, people can work on improving their memories and they can get quite good at remembering things if they just really work at it. It's not true. I mean, obviously there's always exceptions, but typically speaking, when someone just goes, oh, I got a bad memory, it's like, well, I mean, I know I just said that a minute ago, but I can work on it to get better. I can. I'm a lazy fuck.
I'm a lazy turd.
I gotta be better about that.
Yeah, I don't, dude. It's weird. I can remember like life experiences and things that, all the way up from my childhood to now. But don't ask me anything like in a textbook, because I couldn't tell you.
Well, because that stuff wasn't
Dates
meaningful,
or the Pythagorean theorem or whatever.
right?
Different solutions to different math problems. I couldn't tell you. Like,
Yeah, because that stuff isn't meaningful to a person, like those life experiences that you're talking about, like when you went to a baseball game with your dad, or it's like those shape you. Whereas I'm not saying school doesn't. Obviously, it does, but I mean, there is something about just learning what it is, like the subject material you have to learn, just so that you can move on. And you don't. I mean, if it's not something you're passionate about, then typically speaking, you'll forget about it. You just learn it long enough to be able to either recite it or, have a test in which you're quizzed on how well you know it, and you know it well enough. But then, like you said, like after a certain amount of months or maybe however many certain amount of years after you're out of school, you don't retain that stuff. It's not important to you. If you don't use it every day, that's the other thing too. Like if you go to school and you have to take math classes, but like you're not majoring in, you're not going to become a mathematician, and you're not going to be doing any work that involves math. It's like, if you don't use it, you forget it.
if you don't use it, you lose it.
You lose it, bro.
Yeah. Is it true?
It's a cliche,
if you don't use it, you lose it.
It's a cliche, but I mean, I found it to be quite true so far in my life.
Yeah. So, dude, it's been a long time since
I know. We really just sat down and talked one-on-one.
When was the last time you and I spoke before we kind of branched off and did our own thing? So, for those who don't know anything about Joe Pasuto, him and we became friends in junior high, I believe.
Yep, correct.
And we did everything, and most kids our age, we skateboarded, played music. I think the biggest thing for us is we were in a band together.
Yep.
Called Dumb.
Yeah. It started as Dumb, and then we changed the name later to Lester.
Yeah, we changed the name later to Lester, which we didn't even need to change it.
We didn't really need to. That was the whole thing. We can get into that another time. But the important thing to remember is that Lester had 2 S's. Why?
Yeah.
That was also just because.
Why not?
Why not? We were 16-year-olds. We were like, well, why not? Let's be a little different.
Yeah.
As if having the name of the band as Lester wasn't different enough. We're like, no, we're going to add 2.
Right.
There's going to be 2 S's now.
Yeah. Check out this band named Lester.
But then you go to do a search online, you type in Lester, and it doesn't come up. I mean, we probably would anyway, but it's just funny if you're just like, you're making it harder for people to find you when you spell it a certain way, but we didn't care. We didn't think about that shit. We're like, oh, whatever. It's 2 S's.
We did it.
Deal with it.
Yeah, it was fun, man. We played so much music together. I still remember we were at your house, and your parents were so kind enough to let us practice continuously.
Yeah, every weekend for a little while there. We were playing like every Saturday.
Yeah, and yeah, dude, we got pretty big in that high desert.
It was fun, especially like as kids, because like I was saying earlier, I know this was obviously off air, but when we were talking, it just seems to me like it was added, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just us being that young. Most of the other bands, if not all the other bands, were definitely older than us. So they would look at us as like, wait a second, like, these guys, I mean, they're not like, I mean, we were more punk rock than anything. They were just like, these guys. I just remember the one thing we kept hearing, and even though I guess maybe in some ways it could be considered a backhanded compliment, like I never took it that way, and I still really don't. I don't think anybody meant it super like negatively, but a lot of people would say, you guys are really good for your age.
Yeah.
You heard that, right? They'd be like, you guys are pretty good. For 16-year-olds, you guys aren't bad. How long you guys been playing together?
Yeah.
No, you guys haven't been playing together for that long. You guys are pretty good for how long you guys have been together. Just keep it up. There was a lot of that. It was kind of like a sunning, like people like sunning you, like, hey, hey, keep it up, little man.
Yeah.
But I didn't take it negatively. I took it like, oh, cool. Like all these 20-something-year-olds actually think our band is pretty cool. We're making them laugh. Like when we're playing our songs and like we're just shooting the shit in between, songs and just talking shit, like the audience is responding and they're responding positively. Like they had fun. So you're right. Like there was a little period there. What was that? 2002, 2001 to 2002, 2003.
Yeah. So we
in there.
graduated 2004, and we really got heavy into it about 2000. Yeah, 2001 to 2002. I think we were really,
Yeah.
really, really into it.
Yeah. Cause we were sophomores, right? Like we weren't even juniors yet. I think we were sophomores when we started the band and we were playing these shows that we're talking about. Like primarily like we were just so young. Like, and
Super young.
not that means we couldn't do it. Just that compared to all the other people who were actually booking shows, loading up their gear, going and playing a show and then breaking down and getting like some places. I mean, I guess they got paid, but then, most of the time it was just house parties and stuff. But like just us rolling in and like, I mean, I'm trying to think now if I were in those shoes. Now, granted, it's funny because we're in our 30s now, so I think about kids that are like 22, and I'm like, well, I know he's not a kid, but like that's really young still. But it's funny to think about like when we were 16, 22 seems so old. It's like, oh man, this 22-year-old, he invited us to come play at his fucking house. It's so cool, But it's like,
can you buy us beer, bro?
exactly. And we're just like, this is gonna be fun, But I mean, it's just one of those things where I think back. I try to think to, I try to think back to that time. I think to myself, okay, well, how big of a discrepancy in the age really was it? It really wasn't that big a deal. Like we were only, 5 years, 6 years on average, like younger than these people. And I know that makes a big difference the younger you are. But at the end of the day, again, we were all doing the same thing. We're all playing in bands. We're all making music. And I felt like we had just as much a right to play and belong. We belonged just as much as everybody else in that scene playing, and it was great. I think like people recognized that.
Yeah, people really did like our stuff, dude. I think because we were just so comical.
Yeah,
We did a lot of funny stuff, and we didn't take it serious, but we were really serious.
That's true.
As we got better,
Yeah,
like the music got better, but we still, I think it was really for me, the comical side,
yeah,
because I love to make people laugh
you're right.
at my own expense. I'll do it all day, every day. And that was the good outlet for me. Really good outlet. If I didn't meet Brad and all you guys, dude, oh man, I don't know what I would have done.
Well,
I got all that pent up teenager rage, hate my family,
yeah, I mean,
And,
it's one of those things where when like we are the sum total of all of our life experiences. So you count obviously the people you encounter as well. And so when you make friends, like we've made friends and we're still friends to this day. And I know we haven't hung out as much, but at the end of the day, like we're still really close, I feel. And that's rare. That's rare. But
Really
you're right.
rare.
We're lucky. Because I mean, I feel I'm equally as lucky to have met you and Brad as well. Like definitely because, my life would have been a little different. I don't know if it would have necessarily been better or worse, but I can definitely see an alternative reality where if I had never met you guys, like I wouldn't have been so, I don't know, I wouldn't have been so into that type of like camaraderie that you get when you are in a band with friends. Like that feeling of being in a band, it is kind of like a marriage because you do have, highs and lows and people's, moods, and like you have to be respectful and you have to, you have to communicate. Like it teaches you, and like it teaches you life lessons and how to treat people and how to like, be accountable and have a responsibility. And like, even though we didn't realize it in doing that, we were learning that stuff as teenagers. It's good. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe I would have learned that stuff in other ways, but maybe not. I might not have if I didn't get to have that amazing experience of joining a band as a kid,
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about that. We really learned about being structured, especially when you make songs. It's very structured. Like, hey, we have to get A, B, and C right to get to whatever.
Yeah.
And if we don't get that right, it's going to sound like garbage. So
It's not going to come out the way we want.
And so we got to figure that out. And, we spent a lot of time. When I met Brad, which I'm going to do a podcast with soon here, he's the one that sat me down because it wasn't me originally in the band. It was you, Chris Compliment, and him and
Correct.
Brad.
Correct.
And Brad was like, dude, do you want to be like the mascot and go around and get people jazzed up? I was like, absolutely, dude.
Hype man.
Yeah, the hype man. I was like, I would love to be part of something, just something fun. Like, because I'm like that. I'm really like extremely shy, but if you give me a challenge, like, hey, we need you to go out and like talk to people and interview, and I was like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah. You've always been one to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. I'll rise to the occasion, like for sure. If that's what you need me to do, I'll do it. And so what had happened, I was like, man, one day I want to play in this band. I'm like, what, 14 years old? Like, dude, I really want to play. 15. And it came to the point where Chris had to leave for some reason. He was moving, and Brad's like, you want to play? I was like, dude, I don't even know how to play anything. So, besides, pick my nose. I can play this. So he was like, dude, I'll teach you. I'll teach you the basics, but I'll leave it up to you. But if you really want, dude, you're in. I was like, I'm in. So I didn't even get a guitar. I have anything. He had all the instruments. So I go to his house. He taught me the basic, like, these are what frets are. This is the guitar. This is the neck. These are your knobs to tighten, loosen the strings. And I was like, okay. So what do I do? He's like, well, we'll have you play bass. It's a little easier. It's not as complex. But eventually you and I are going to switch off.
Right.
I was like, okay, but let me get like the bass down. It's a good starting point. So he showed me. I was like, all right, dude, I'm going to do it. And it didn't take me more than maybe one or 2 months. And I had it.
Yeah.
I was so honed in, and I had found a guitar at my parents' church that I went to. My dad found it.
Is it that acoustic?
Yeah,
acoustic? Okay.
it's actually right here.
Really?
This guitar. There.
Oh yeah. You got all the stickers on it. Yeah, the Warped Tour stickers and.
So this baby.
Yeah. Show it off.
Right here.
That guitar has a lot of history,
dude. I wrote every song on this guitar. Everything. And I've had electric guitars, bass guitars, and like I could easily wrote on that. I wrote everything, and that's the only thing I have left from all the instruments I've had.
Oh, that's just a testament to how special that guitar is.
Super special. It's my first one. That neck is actually short. It's not a little short. Standard neck.
Yeah. What are the normal amount of frets you get on a standard size neck?
I think it's 24, 22.
How many is that?
This is 18.
Okay.
18, so it's a little.
It's more
shorter.
like a travel guitar, kind of like where you're supposed to like. It's not a full size, but like you can take it on the road, or you can take it like.
Right.
It's like
right.
easy to.
It's smaller for some reason. So I think my dad found it. But he was like, "Let me ask around because maybe somebody left it and they didn't want it." Fair enough. He's like, "No one claimed it, so it's yours." I was like, "Yeah,
that's the best thing the church ever gave you, man."
That's the best thing church ever gave me.
That's awesome. I didn't know that your dad found that. That's cool.
And because my dad wasn't, that's his kind of thing. He's like, well, maybe it's just a phase for your kid. He'll probably grow out of it, and he didn't really want to invest. Fair enough, But I was dedicated. So whatever Brad taught me, I would go home and just tinker hours and hours and hours and hours. And the first song I learned was Red Hot Chili Peppers, By the Way, I think. No, Scar Tissue.
Really?
Dun, 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 dun,
Oh,
dun, 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 dun. Hello. Yeah.
But actually done well. Yeah.
I think that's Scar Tissue. Is that Scar Tissue?
No, that's the one. Scar Tissue was the one that goes like. I'm trying to remember. With the birds I share this
Oh,
alone
what's the one I'm thinking about?
land.
What's that song I'm thinking about?
I don't remember the name of it. I mean, I like the Chili Peppers, but I
Dude,
don't know all
it's
the
one of my favorite
songs
songs, and
and
I
the
can't
names of
remember
them.
it. But anyway, that was
You're
the
right,
first
though.
song I learned because Brad taught me how to read tabs.
Mm.
Eventually, I learned how to read some sheet music, but
Dude, it's
sheet music's
really
tough.
tough.
Yeah, sheet music is tough, dude.
Mm-hmm. And then like when people like know how to sight read,
Mm-hmm.
I
I
just
don't know how people
dude,
just stare at me like, okay, yeah, like
yeah,
violinists, like,
yeah.
yeah, I got it.
They just sight
Yeah,
read.
huh?
Yeah, they can pull it up. They go, okay, see the tempo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I learned that, and I was like, dude, I got it. I was like, wow, dude, like, this is not undoable. And he put me in the band, and dude, it was just game on from there.
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
And it's
I
funny.
miss it.
I miss it
Miss
too.
it.
I miss it too. I've been talking with my friend Josh over in California. I mean, we're in the high desert, and we talk about just jamming. I mean, he plays guitar and drums, and we've been talking about just getting together and jamming. He's actually in a house, whereas I'm in an apartment, so I can't exactly do it. But at his house, we can. So we've been talking about doing that. Like we're gonna set up. He's got a kit, but it's all broken down and stored away, but like we're gonna break it out. We're gonna play. Like we were talking about that, and we're not like starting a band or anything, but like we just want to jam. We just want to play. Like you're saying, like you just miss it. Like I just want to get together and just play. Like we don't even have to have a song in mind. Like let's just start jamming and let's just see how it goes. I mean, when you're friends with people, you don't even have to feel that pressure. It's not like you're going to a session with other musicians and you're like, oh, I got to make sure I'm on it, because if they want to play in in C. Like in C major, like I got to make sure like I'm not out of key, like or whatever. Like I mean, you don't have to worry about that with your friend. You just kind of go, hey, we're just gonna fuck around, If you're out, whatever. Like if we find something cool, oh, let's build on it. Why not? And then you just kind of play, just have fun.
Yeah, dude. I was telling everybody lately. I was like, dude, I'm getting this guitar, and I think I told you
You mentioned it a little earlier. Yeah, can you tell me a little more about that?
So it's the hollow body. I've always liked the hollow body F notes on the guitar. It's like, have you ever seen Brian Setzer and the orchestra?
Yeah.
So he plays a hollow body with F notes. I don't know if it's a semi hollow body or full.
Right, because
Anyway.
there's a difference, right? I mean, obviously it's an electric guitar, but whether or not it's a semi or a complete hollow body.
Yeah, so it's shaped like that. And it has the F notes, and I've always been drawn to that guitar.
They're cool guitars, man.
They're
very
they're
specific
so
kind of
beautiful.
sound too.
Yeah.
I mean,
They have a unique sound. And the one I want is something I've been looking for a long time. And it kind of just stuck out at me when I saw it. I was like, okay, I want this one. But now I'm looking at like different amps. I'm like, do I want to get an orange amp? Do I want to get a Vox? Do I want to get an old Blues Fender amp? Because I'm looking for a sound, that I can't explain it verbally, but I know what it takes to combine to get to it.
You're a musician. Musicians know when they hear what they want, they're like, that's it. Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
But you got to find it. And you're right.
It's a crisp, like rock and roll, but still semi kind of staticky sound. Like Marshall amp, forget it. It's not going to give me. That's a fucking rock and roll amp, like to 11. But this one goes to 11.
Go to 11.
Yeah.
What's funny about that? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go and continue.
So that's the combination. I found the guitar I'm looking for. The sound. I've researched it, and I've heard nothing but great things about this guitar. I'm like, all right, it's giving the sound for a lot of people. Now it's getting down to the amp. And like I told you earlier, man, like the amp is more than the guitar now these days.
When you're dealing with electronics like that, the electrical
insane.
component to it, you don't just have an acoustic guitar that it's built in a way and it's just got the right feel and the right sound, and it creates its own volume. You're right. Like with an electric guitar, whether even if it is fully hollow body or whatever, like at the end of the day, if it's got electrical components, you have to have the amp, and like you said, the amp, man, that's a whole other aspect of it. I mean, it's
and
important.
I want a tube amped, so it has to be tubed. Gotcha. And once you start looking at tube amps, dude, the price is just insane.
Yeah.
But
I don't even play guitar,
sound.
and I know that.
Yeah, it's the sound, because the amp takes a while to warm up. But then you get this very unique sound from a tube amp opposed to like a hardwire amp straight to the, and that's just the sound I want. I may not even play it a lot, but it's it's really weird, dude. Like your taste changes as I've gotten older.
It seems like your tastes haven't changed so much as they've just become more refined.
Yeah, you're right. A little more fine tuned.
Is just more refined.
Yeah, because when I was younger, dude, we talked. It's like, dude, turn it all the way up, turn all your pickups all the way up. But really, you know, you gotta sit there and adjust. When you see guitarists always adjusting their knobs on the bottom there with all those knobs, their pickups, you know, they're fine tuning their guitar as they're playing.
Right.
So there's a lot.
They're looking for that. They're looking for that
sound. So when you combine, I saw it today when we were up in Park City. The dude had the exact setup I was looking for.
Oh yeah, the guy that's playing on that little spot over there.
No, we were
a different person.
We were going into that eatery, that restaurant. He was tucked away in that little tiny area on the outside there. I don't think you saw him. He looked like a hippie.
I remember him now.
I remember
guitarist
up there.
No, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, I remember him now.
But he had the Epiphone I was looking at, and he had the Vox amp, and he had it. I was like, dude, this is what I'm looking for. Like, he has that, you know, and when you see somebody else put it together, you're like, all right, yeah, that's it.
Sexy.
Yeah, dude, it's unique. It's cool. So that's where I'm at now with it. For a while, I was debating. I was like, do I really want to get a guitar? Am I going to play it? Because I don't really pick up this one too much. But there's different sounds I want to, because when I start doing all the vlogging now, like YouTube dings you for all the copyright music in the world, dude. It's super annoying. Super annoying.
I don't know anything about that world. I watch plenty of YouTube videos. I think I watch my fair share, but yeah, I've never set up a channel. I don't even have a YouTube account in which I can give people thumbs up or thumbs down.
Hey, dude, subscribe to Erbesessions channel. Give it a thumbs up. Follow.
Be sure everybody out there that's listening, be sure to hit that like button.
Yeah, dude, I stopped doing that. You know why? Because it's stupid. Dude. If people like it, they'll follow you. If not, you don't need to keep reminding them. I do it in my intro for my sponsorship in the beginning.
Oh, awesome.
But other than that, I stopped putting it in my videos. It's just annoying. Like, make sure you hit that like button. Like, dude, shut up. You know?
I hear you. I actually, I agree with you more than I disagree. I respect the hustler. I respect
that too.
Yeah, I know you do. That's true.
Sure.
Like I say it, and knowing that you have the same amount of respect for a person who just gets at it, just hustles, and they're constantly promoting themselves. Shameless promotion, shameless self promotion. They're like, hey man, I'm trying to live my dream. I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do. So I can respect that, but there's no but. I respect that. Period.
Exclamation point.
I am, however, the same way as you. In that, like, if I ever did start up a podcast, if I ever did start up a channel of some sort, if I was ever engaging with other people and I wanted subscribers or likes of some sort, like, I don't know. I'm not saying I would never, bring it up, but I also, I wouldn't make it a thing that's just like you said, like, it's just like it's like second nature. Like, they just bring it up at the beginning of every video. They'll bring it up at the end of every video. And then there's just, again, I respect anybody that wants to actually take their time to promote their brand or themselves or whatever they're interested in, or whatever they're passionate about. But yeah, I agree. I think if I was doing stuff like you, like, I would be the same way. I just feel like, dude, if people like it, like you said, if people like it, I feel like they're going to spread word of mouth. They're going to tell others, like, you should check it out. And then if they check it out and they don't like it, okay, no big deal. But if they do check it out, me telling them to subscribe is not gonna make the difference. Like, either they're gonna like it and they're gonna subscribe because they want to hear future episodes, or they don't like it enough. Like, I don't think any amount of me saying hit that subscribe button is going to make them change their mind.
Right. Yeah, it's all about content. Yeah. If you have what they're looking for, people, man, they're ding, 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 ding all day.
True.
And it takes a while to build, dude. Like, I'm not tooting my own horn. I only have, as of right now, as of this podcast, I have 41 subscribers. Right. And I'm still stoked about that.
Oh, dude.
I was like, dude, there's 41 people who are like generally kind of intrigued of what I got going on.
They want to check in. They want to hear who you're talking with. I think it's great. Honestly, 41 people. I know not nothing. It's not nothing.
It's not nothing. But at the same time, I've had episodes. My best episode was with my friend Ricky, who is a music producer,
Was
is
your best episode.
all right.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna take over?
Well,
But
I mean, this is why we're here, baby. This is why we're here.
That's why we're here. But it had like some like 200 views. I was like, wow, like
Oh, cool.
200 people sat there and listened to that thing. That's kind of cool.
Who's that with?
And Ricky Vela. I think I said his last name right.
Have I ever met Ricky?
No. You haven't met him. He's back home in Victorville. Really talented young.
So he lives
music
where I
producer.
live,
Yeah.
we just never met?
No, I met him when I moved in with Leilani, who I considered like a sister I've never had. I called her my sister because, boy, that girl helped me through a lot of stuff.
Is she the one with a little boy? She has a son?
She has 2 boys.
2 boys. Oh, okay. Sorry, 2 boys.
One daughter.
Oh, cool. So 3 kids total?
3 kids total.
Oh, wow. Okay. Cool.
And I lived with her all through my schooling. She let me come and go as I needed. Like, dude, I owe her the world. Nothing but kind things to say about her. But her son, her middle son, Ricky, really good music producer. Just him and I made a couple tracks together. And so I was like, dude, we got to do a podcast. Let's just sit here and tell me how you got to where you're at. And dude, it's one of the best episodes so far. You know?
It's awesome.
Because it just intrigues those younger folks, those up-and-comers. Like, dude, he's doing it.
Oh, for sure.
I could do it. It's a hustle, though, man. He works hard. And you have to stay in it.
Yep.
Even when no one's listening.
Yeah.
You have to just keep pushing out. And eventually that one track will just trickle into everything you ever wanted.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy.
You know, what you're saying is true. I mean, in that, again, I don't have a podcast, but most people
give up.
They give up. Yeah. And even if they don't fully give up, but they kind of, like you said, they're not as consistent as others. It's just one of those things where it's content, and people, no matter how good you are or how controversial you may be, or I don't know, just how loyal that person is to listening to you all the time. If you miss a week, then you miss 2 weeks, and the next thing you know, like that person, like it's nothing personal, but that person just goes like, hey, like I want content and I'm driving to work. So, and they start looking for other podcasts, and there's only so many podcasts you can listen to in a day and in a week. You can't listen to all of them. So when you're competing for ears, you're right.
It's
You're
hard.
100% right. You have to hustle. It's a hustle because there are other people out there putting out, multiple episodes a week, and it's just like, all right. And like you said, but I agree with you. You just stay the course. You find what works for you and then stay the course.
Yeah. I think the whole like multiple podcasts a week is a little draining for some, because I follow some. I stopped following them, stopped listening, because I'm like, dude, it's almost too much. Like, I need a break from you. I'm like, all right, it's been 2 weeks. They should have a new one out. All right. But every week, like when I'm guaranteed I'm going to get one I'm going to get 2 episodes every week, you're kind of like, You almost take it for granted.
Yeah,
You're
it's
like,
true.
It's
You
too
do.
much.
You start to take it for granted. That's true. I mean, Joe Rogan, I love his podcast.
Me too.
He does like what, 4 to 5 episodes a week, like every week, man. I mean, unless
too
he's
much.
Well, I mean, maybe at
my
times,
opinion.
but the thing about at least his podcast, and it's not just, oh, no, let me reword that. It's not just his podcast. This goes for all podcasts, that if they have a lot of guests, like every episode, like they'll have a guest on or whatever. I mean, even if they put out 2 episodes a day, every day, I'm fine with it, in that I just like Joe Rogan's, it doesn't matter whether it's his or anybody's, like Dax Shepard's I was talking about, like Armchair Expert, like that's an exclusive Spotify podcast now, but for a long time it wasn't, but recently it's now exclusive. Like these people, they have all kinds of guests on from all walks of life, and I just tune into the ones that I'm interested in. Like if I see somebody who, and I don't have to necessarily already know about them in advance, if I just see like the description of the guest, and they're like, oh, today we have on so and so, and this is what they're an expert in. I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. And then I'll just listen to it. But some people, like I go on there, I'm just like, I mean, nothing personal against that person, but I'm not really too interested in listening to this one. And I just won't listen to it. I don't feel obligated just because I like a certain podcast or I subscribe to something that I have to listen to every episode.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't.
Dude, that's how I felt. I'm the same way with like, here we are promoting Joe Rogan, but he's like,
well, he's the number
phenomenal.
one podcast in
He's a
the
great
country, if not the
interviewer.
world, right?
Right. He's a great interviewer. But there was a time where I was like, dude, it's just kind of like, who are these people? I don't know any of these people.
I mean, some of the people he brings on to talk to.
Yeah. I'm like, huh?
Well,
a lot of fighters and stuff where I'm not into fighting.
he'll do the MMA show.
Yeah.
Which I gotta say though, if he has somebody on
good,
really interesting,
too.
dude, it gets you more
Yeah.
interested in
When he
mixed
has-
martial arts.
When he has Eddie Bravo, when he did, oh my God, I love
Eddie's
Eddie
so
Bravo.
funny, dude.
He's
I
so
mean,
funny, dude.
he's one of those
there's
guys.
points where I'm like, dude, Eddie Bravo makes sense. Then I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that flat Earth stuff either, though. But he's like, dude, flat Earth is good.
Oh, he goes far.
He
out
goes
there.
hard,
He goes
dude.
far out there.
Yeah,
But
I love him for it though.
Well, yeah,
It's entertaining.
it's entertaining to me for sure. Like I don't take it, I don't take it too seriously. But at the end of the day, yeah, I feel like he's one of those people that, you know, you would have a great time hanging out with.
Yeah.
He would be a riot. He would be a lot of fun, you know, and he would just be a fun guy to hang out with. He seems to be. So, you know, yeah, he might believe in some out there stuff, but like, you know, I mean, again, I don't only hang out with people that I agree with 100%. Because
Sure,
if
yeah,
I
yeah.
did that, I would not hang out with anybody.
You probably wouldn't have any friends.
You wouldn't.
Yeah,
There's nobody that I agree with 100%.
yeah, yeah. But totally, dude. I totally get what you're saying because there was some points or with some podcasts I was like, okay, I don't know any of this. And then when say I'll use the example Joe Rogan, I was like, dude, I don't know. For a while, I'm like, dude, I don't know any of these people. And then he did that interview with Quentin Tarantino.
Oh,
I
yeah, that was
like,
recent.
whoa, this is cool.
Yeah, Tarantino
like
made the
he's-
rounds. He went to.
dude,
He was on Dak
he's
Shepard's
opening up,
podcast.
man.
Well, he just released a book on that on. Well, it's not on the movie, but like the movie he just made, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He wrote a book that. I mean, I'm probably gonna be butchering how this is supposed to be promoted, but he essentially like wrote a book to kind of dive deeper into some of the characters and like it in a way complements the movie.
Yeah.
So I haven't read it. It sounds awesome though.
Sounds
I
like
would
a good book.
love to read
He's
it.
an amazing,
get it.
gifted like artist for sure.
Dude, he's got a voice, man. And people, you know, I mean, obviously, like most people like his work, or at least
I
some
haven't
of
met
it.
anybody who was like,
I just don't
"Nah,
like
I don't
him."
like Quentin,
Yeah.
but they'll be like, I really like this movie, but that movie didn't do it. But overall, like his stuff's good.
Right.
All his movies.
Yeah.
I never hated one. Dude, what got me into Quentin was Reservoir Dogs.
That's a great movie.
Dude, I could not stop watching that
a great
movie.
movie.
The dialogue, and what I like about him is his dialogues.
Yeah.
It's not always has to be like, dude, like the Avengers or whatever. It has to be just go 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 go. Like you forget, like people can have conversations and like get your mind thinking, like, huh, I never thought of that. Like the part in the beginning with Reservoir Dogs where they're talking about tipping.
Right.
They're like, why should I? I was like,
Yeah,
damn,
Mr.
you
Pink
convinced
had
me.
a
Give me
big-
back my dollar.
Right. Mr. Pink had a fucking big issue about Tiffany.
Dude, you convinced cop up a dollar, you cheap bastard.
Right. Yeah. And
But-
you're right though. Like
But
that.
no one writes like that. I haven't seen a movie where they were like, whoa.
I will say other people
me.
have, but not in the like. Again, Quentin has like all great, you know, content creators. In this case, film. Like all great filmmakers, he has a particular voice. There's a particular touch there in his movies. Like it's got his
You know you're in for
his
a treat.
magic on it.
Yeah.
Like just yeah, and it's just I don't know, man. I mean, there's a lot of great writers out there, but it definitely is another level. I mean, anybody, in my opinion, can learn to write decently, and then obviously some people have a gift for it. Some people have just a real gift for the language, and they can write stuff that you feel but you can't convey. You didn't know how to convert that into words, and then they do it for you, and you're like, that's exactly, like those people have that gift. And then there's even another step beyond that, which I would put Quentin Tarantino in that group, even above that, where not only can they do that, but like it's very specific. Like, even though like there's been plenty of movies made and plenty of screenplays written before any of his, he somehow comes in and finds a way to make these movies that are somehow different feeling. Like you said, even in dialogue, but in everything. I mean, he was the director too. So like Pulp Fiction was huge because like you were talking about just Sam L. and John Travolta talking about, like a Royale with cheese in the car, and like how, they use mayonnaise over there instead of ketchup. And he's like, what? Like a mayonnaise? Like just these conversations, like you said, like these are normal conversations, but nobody else writes like that. Like I feel like other people did. Like Kevin Smith definitely writes like that. Like I'm a big fan of Kevin Smith's work, and he'll write. I mean, Clerks is a perfect example of just, you got two people talking, but yet what they're talking about is so compelling. You just want to keep watching. And Quentin has that too. And not only is that special to have that, to be able to write like that, but then to be able to go, like I said, a step further and actually distinguish yourself from other writers, where then people can hear your dialogue even, or just read a screenplay even and go, this looks like Quentin Tarantino's writing, or this looks a lot like Kevin Smith's writing. It sounds like him. This sounds like his voice. Like, there's a lot of writers out there that write, but they don't sound distinct enough to be able to be pulled out from a pile, But these guys, honestly, you can give them a blank script, like, or not blank, but I mean, like in that it doesn't show you who wrote it. And a lot of people who are fans of these people, I think, could very easily point out after a certain amount of pages in, they'd go, "Oh, this sounds so much like a Quentin Tarantino film," And then they'd be like, "Well, it's because Quentin Tarantino wrote it." And you're like, "Oh, that makes sense." You win. Yeah. But then there's so many other writers that they just want to write a good movie, and that's enough to be proud of in and of itself. But to be of that level, in my mind, like we're talking about Quentin, so just to stay on him, just to be on that level, to be able to make, again, I mean, he wasn't just like a one-off, like he makes a lot of great movies. So most of his movies, if not all of his movies, are beloved. I mean, I can't think of a movie that people didn't like. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, obviously some movies are more beloved than others, but like, I mean, you can just go down the list. I mean, there's very few movies that, or rather, there's very few filmmakers that kind of have that pedigree, like that have that, like that career to be able to lay out and go like, oh, these are all the movies I made. The vast majority of them, if not all of them, are appreciated and loved. Most people make one movie in Hollywood and it doesn't go well, and then like you never hear from them again. Yeah, like that's the regular story. That's the average story. That's the common story.
That's kind of like across the board. If you look at movies, like, okay, this is a Quentin movie, and if you look at music and you listen and you don't even know who's putting it out, you're like, man, that like Thrice.
Right. Like, you don't even hear the lyrics. Like, you don't even hear the voice yet. Yeah, you just hear the instrumental.
Like that sounds like Thrice or Porter Robinson, who's one of my favorite DJs, if not my favorite. And I don't even need to hear lyrics or anything. He mostly does just, dance music. He's different. But when
you've played some for me.
Yeah. You've
played some for me.
When you're hearing it, you go, dude, that's Porter Robinson. So to stick out even in that environment is unique. And it's like, that takes a lot, dude.
For sure.
That takes a lot to poke out of all the music in the world. You go, I know who that is.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, dang, dude. How do you do it? The same with podcasting. Like, how do you stick out? What? You just keep going.
Just be you.
Just keep going and going. Just be you.
I'm a firm believer that people find their people. Yeah. I mean, I was talking with Brad about this earlier. Like people need to make their own luck. It's not enough to just say, well, if if I just keep doing what I'm doing, like something's bound to change. It depends on what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
If you are putting your nose to the grindstone and you're just going at it, you're just working really hard and you're making progress along the way, like actual progress that you can track and go, oh yeah, like I'm reaching my goal close, like I'm getting closer and closer. Like if you can actually see that, then that what I'm saying doesn't it doesn't have to do with that. Like that's a great thing. But if you are one of those people that are trying to do things that I don't know how to explain it. Like I'm trying to think of what I want to say. It's just I don't know how to really. I really know how to word it.
Matchmaker, make me a match. Cheers, cheers to that.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, we can cheer. I mean,
Cheers.
cheers. It's just tough. I'm
Let's take a sip, dude. Those glasses are pretty heavy, eh?
They are.
They're nice.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Feels good.
I had to take a sip.
I've been saying A lot, eh? Like Canadian A. For some reason, I don't know where I picked up that habit, but it all day, at work, wherever I'm at. How do you feel about that, eh? And everybody answers it very like peacefully.
Yeah.
They're like, "Why?" Then no one ever says A. Why are you saying A?
I can see that.
Well,
you're in a nice
I don't know
area
where it
though.
came from, so I just say A.
But you're in a nice area, so you're not gonna have anybody be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Everyone's very polite around here. That's the
Extremely.
main thing I've noticed is that
no one's very rude, except for that girl at the brewery today.
I just think they were. I was telling Brad this. I think that those people were just not that this is right or wrong. I just feel like because of the holiday that's here, this holiday weekend in Utah, and I just think that they were a little resentful of all the people. You know, like it was.
Dude, that's how you make money, though. You can't sit there and be like, "Damn, there's so many people here." You have to be like, "All right, there's a lot of people here, and we're making money."
That's true. Yeah, but you know what?
I don't feel sorry for you.
But the business owners have that mindset.
That's
for sure.
true. The workers,
But the hostess is just like, man, I just don't want to be here right now, and I still got 6 more hours. I feel like that's what it was.
Fair enough.
I just don't take it personally. As I've gotten older, don't get me wrong. I mean, I can still get offended for sure, but I mean, like most of the time, if it's something little, everything like that, like just an interaction that's like they're a little rude. Dude, like I just let it go. I forget about that shit because at the end of the day, I know I've done that. I mean, we're human. Like I've probably had countless moments where I just wasn't aware of myself, and maybe I went into a bank and I was just short. I wasn't trying to be rude, but I was just like, okay, yeah, I've been waiting in line for like 20 minutes. I'm just ready to get my deposit and go. I'm using a real old dinosaur example because I don't think anybody goes into an actual bank anymore. I haven't even been inside a physical bank in years, but yet for some reason I use that example.
But something you can relate to.
Let me think. There's something else that we can relate to, but no, I just that's. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at the old man example of the bank.
Yeah, we're getting up there in age, huh? Eh?
Yeah, we're getting up there in age. Yeah.
You're gonna be 35 this year.
You're gonna be 35 next month.
I'm gonna be 35 next month.
I already turned 35 earlier this year.
Oh, that's right. Usually in dude, don't tell me. May or March, April.
Do you want me to answer, or are you just gonna keep taking guesses? You're all January, no, February, March, April, no, May, June,
December.
It's April.
April.
Yeah.
20. No. 16th, 14th, 12. Dude, forget
April 1st.
Just
No,
tell
2nd.
me.
No,
Just
3rd.
tell
No,
me.
4th. No. It's April 5th.
5th. All right.
That's all good.
I'm a bad friend. Hey, happy birthday, dude.
Happy belated birthday, man. No, thank you very much.
Happy belated birthday.
No, you're not a bad friend, man.
I got to write that down in my I still keep a calendar. I write everybody's birthday down, and I need to write yours down.
Yeah, please
So
do.
The next calendar, it rolls over, and I know who to call.
I just know your birthday just because I've known you for so long, and I'm a really good friend. I'm just kidding.
Ow.
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 No, I'm just messing around. I remember your birthday, but even if I didn't, I put it in my phone so that I wouldn't have to. It'll just show me, like when I check my calendar every day, like I look at my phone, it'll just say Wrestler Erbe's birthday. And I put in like the actual year. So like it'll tell me Wrestler Erbe's 35th birthday when it comes up in August, and then I'll just know. But I know most people, I mean, at least the people that still actually go on Facebook, they use Facebook to help remind them. Facebook will tell them like, oh, dude, your friend's birthday's today. But
isn't that weird that information just sits out there publicly?
Yeah,
like, dude, oh yeah, they know your birthday. He's like, hold up. Yeah. You know my birthday?
Well, you put it in though, right? When you start the account. Yeah. Now
I wish I could delete all that, but everything I do, I have to promote it somehow.
You don't need to promote it on Facebook though.
It helps because not everybody's on Instagram. Everybody kind of has their favorite, so you have to be vulnerable to most of it. Like just even being on YouTube is super vulnerable.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're out there.
No, that's true. You're right.
That's what's hard too. Like at some point I think about like, dude, what about like my privacy? Like I'm sharing, people know what I look like,
Oh yeah.
What if some strange fan was like, all right, he lives here. I know his birthday. It gets sketchy.
That's why a lot of these celebrities that truly have like
it gets
that they have tens of millions, if not like well over 100 million people following them. That's why these people they don't roll solo. Like they got security or they're going through back doors. Like I'm
not saying I'm a super seb or any close to that.
I know you're not. No, I get what you're saying.
Just being out there.
It's just the feeling of that, knowing that people know more than you care for them to know about you.
Well, I don't. That's one thing I'm good about. I don't blast every aspect of my life, and I don't tell everybody every aspect of my life.
It's good
publicly.
Probably for the best.
You know what I mean? You'll know the basics. Like, hey, I got a Erbe session podcast. I do some vlogging.
Again, I'm really glad that you do this. It's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. What do you think about the studio, dude?
It's awesome.
I didn't even write any of this down. I put this all in my head, and I was like, I'm gonna build a studio. This is what I want to do.
I feel like you can even, above and beyond, man. I feel like this is a great
good starting
point that you've gotten to. Yeah. But you've got this beautiful couch over here that's off screen. You could set up mics where like you got guests,
a little more
getting comfortable on the couch, and you could be across in a nice chair. I mean, you've got enough space in this room that you could do some stuff. It'd be fun. Yeah. You should definitely look at this.
It's being out here and where I'm at. I don't know a lot of people.
There's not as many people.
So it's hard for me. What I've invested so far is a lot. A pretty substantial.
But it's awesome.
But it's really cool. Like I've always wanted a space to be creative, and I have it.
Yeah, and I like that it's tangible, man.
Yeah.
It's tangible. Like,
it's not overdone.
You've got the
nice little desk.
You've got the banner. You've got all the electronics set up. You've got your mics. You've got everything. You've got your levels set up. You've got your lighting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that you can be proud of. You look, you say, you know what? If I go back to a certain time, I had none of this. I was not doing any podcasts.
Well, do you remember when we did that podcast with my brother? So this is what makes you so important in my life. Not only what we did music, but you also showed me how to like set up levels because you worked at Love Juice for a little bit.
Oh yeah, like recording music.
Like, right, dude, this is how you set your levels. And I've never
because I worked on a mixing board. Granted, I mean I didn't do much with them in particular, but you're right. Like I ended up recording The Noise, like I did their album, like which was awesome for me personally. Like I remember they were just like, oh cool, like Joe's got like a mixing board, like he can actually mix and master us. And I was like, yeah, and then like the whole way I'm like, for sure. I'm like, I'm trying to figure this out. I don't know what I'm doing. But I was like figuring it out as I went.
Head, like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing.
I remember I was on my bed.
The best way to learn.
I remember when I was learning to master, I was on my bed with the machine at like 3 a.m. at my apartment in Victorville. And not the one I'm at now, but like, way back in the day, the Wimbledon apartments. I was just sitting there trying to figure it out because I'd already told your brother and Donald. And was Donald in that thing? No, Donald was in the band. Like his friend at the time played bass for them, and I'm blanking on his name right now. So
we were that band was called Razors 86.
Oh, thank you, Razors 86. I was saying The Noise, wasn't I? I'm sorry, my apologies. Yes,
The Noise was myself, Mike.
You're right. Yeah, Mike Bustamante,
Kev, and Kendall. That was
a different. I did not record you guys. I recorded the other band.
You recorded Razor 86, where I was actually the singer.
Yes, but then Kendall ended up
Kendall took over because I was like, bro, I'm not a singer.
Right. Now you're starting to fill in the blanks for me. Thank you. Yes.
I remember all of it. Just tell me where you want me to pick up, and I'll tell you.
That's right. Yeah, and I recorded them at this friend of mine at the time. His name. Oh, hold on, it'll come to me. God.
I wish I could get a hold of that music, dude. Those are such precious moments in life.
Yeah.
I wish I did have all the music. It was in my CD collection. And that thing disappeared. I did not know where that thing ended up. And that's where all my music was. That's where Dumb's live album was, our recording, Razors 86, the Noise album. Dude.
I just remembered Jordan. I don't remember his last name right now, but Jordan, he went to school with us. He was like a year or two younger than us. And when I was playing in Broken Melody, he offered a back garage that he was at his parents' house, but
his dad was a fireman, right?
I don't know if he was a fireman. No, you're thinking of Jeremy.
Yeah, that's Jeremy.
Yeah, that's Jeremy. Yeah.
But you still talk to Jeremy?
Yeah.
Yeah? How's he doing? What is he doing?
I mean, he does. Last I checked, he's kind of a handyman. He does like a lot of he helps flip houses.
Okay, hey, that's a fair trade, dude.
But I could be completely wrong on that because I haven't asked him recently. And by recently I mean the last year, kind of ways up to. But he's been living with his longtime girlfriend Maria, and I'll probably get this wrong too, but they moved out of the high desert, the Victorville, Hesperia area, and they moved more into the Inland Empire, into the valley, into I want to say they're in Moreno Valley. I know that's even further. But I want to say they're in Moreno Valley.
Not the biggest fan
I could be
of
wrong.
Moreno Valley.
Yeah. But, I mean...
Good for them to get out of that desert, though.
Oh, for sure. I'm still up there, but I'll be gone eventually. And when I'm gone, I'm going to do my best not to come back.
Come out here, dude.
Come out to Utah? I'll tell you what. If I actually did, I mean, you would be the person I'd be hanging out with all the time.
That'd be great.
You and Hitomi, I would be hanging out with you guys all the time because I'm not... I don't know, man. I want to travel, like I was telling you earlier. I just want to travel. I want to go visit different places because...
For sure. You got to see where you want to kind of plant your seeds. But hey, go back to, not to cut you off, but go. Yeah. So you were mixing and mastering Razors 86.
Oh, yeah.
And you didn't...
At Jordan's. In his back garage.
And you were like, just not sure how to do it?
It was a little intimidating because I'd never, even though I had played around with recordings and I'd played around with I understood what sounded good, just like you're talking about, as a musician, you kind of learn, even if you don't exactly know what sounds good or right for that particular song, if you're an artist in that you know what you want, you know what you want, you know what you're looking for. You find that sound, you're like, that's what I'm looking for. And then you just kind of go with that, and then let the results be as what they are. But I just was intimidated. I just remember thinking okay, I can do this. And it's not too incredibly complex, the board that I had bought.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking just at the end of the day, these guys, even though they're not paying me, it's one of those things, as friends, they're just oh, fuck, you can record us? Cool.
Right.
It's not like they were holding my feet to the fire and being you need to make this the best thing ever. They weren't doing that. But I just had this feeling where I was just oh, fuck, man, I can't shit the bed. I can't give them something that just sounds like trash. I got to make sure it actually sounds good. Good enough where they actually feel that wasn't a waste of time. Yeah. Because they were going to, I had to coordinate it. We coordinated it with Jordan and his parents. They're okay, well, if you're going to come to the, because we had to get access. They would let us into the gate and we'd drive to the back. They had I don't know how large their yard was. I want to say it's probably, at the very least, it was a half acre. It might have been a full acre. But they had that back garage that a lot of people have up there where they can store an RV or something. It was one of those. And then we soundproofed the shit out of one of those spots in the garage, which could have fit 3 or 4 cars. We just soundproofed one spot of it. And then we would, as Broken Melody, when I was playing with that band, we would have rehearsal there. We would practice there. And then I just asked him, I was like, hey, I got some friends I want to record. So would it be okay if I just recorded there? Because we soundproofed it. And if I'd make a couple of modifications, it'll be perfect just to record. And he was like, yeah, sure. But again, I still had to arrange it and then get everybody over. And it's like, okay, well, Kev's playing drums, so we're going to schedule that time, and then we're going to record just drums, and then we're going to go later, we'll record then the bass, we'll do the other tracks for the multiple guitars and so on and so forth. And like, and then, like I said, I had to go back and I had to mix everything and I had to master it all. And I didn't know, I had never done that before. So I'm learning on the fly, and I'm like, God, I just hope it doesn't come out sounding bad, because even like I had a feeling like, even if that were the case, I'm happy to say that wasn't the case, even though I'm not saying like, oh, it's award worthy. Like, I remember when I gave it to your brother, I'll never forget the excitement when he put it in. He goes, I met him somewhere like in a parking lot. He's like, yeah, you got the CDs, and I burned a couple, and I was like, here you go. And he's like, he puts it in, and he's like in his car, and he turns up the volume, and it's all just another day. Yeah, and that song, and he's like, yeah, and he's like, he's like, this is fucking awesome, dude. And he's like, this sounds so good, and I was like, oh man, I was like, that's perfect.
Dude,
I'm good now.
Kev was such a good drummer.
Yeah.
So talented.
Him and Mike Bustamante.
Yeah.
And they're both
Oh
really
my
good
God.
drummers.
Those two were too good.
Those guys were really good.
What's crazy about Kevin being so talented, I'm like, I don't know if Kevin has like that musical, that's, what musicians have. They just have it, And I question like Kevin's talent. But when he got it, I was like, damn, dude, Kevin's really good.
Yeah.
Like, he had no problem just sitting there keeping up with you.
Yep.
It was just flawless for him. I was like, dude, Kevin's got it.
Yeah.
Wherever that came from. Because we didn't come from a musical family. And it's weird that I picked up the guitar and he picked up the drums.
Mm-hmm.
And we just blossomed in it.
You guys had that shed in the backyard too.
We had that shed where we just kept going. And bless my dad, because we were loud, dude. And he worked from home, and he put up with it.
You're right, because he was like he has like that little.
He had that little room.
That little makeshift, like it was like an office, but it had like walls. Like he had like the
legit.
actual.
Yeah, it was a legit.
But within the garage, right? Like you said, essentially you only were able to fit like one car in the garage, because the other side of it, the left side of it, was
his office.
Right. And I can only imagine how loud it was. Like you said, if he's on the phone in the background, it's just
pap, 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 pap.
He's just like, all right, well, I can help you save some money. Just give me a call back and let me know, and we can run you a rate. And he gets off the phone. He's like, God damn it.
I always look back at that. Me and my dad did not see eye to eye on a lot of things.
Neither did me and my biological dad. Or, let me take it back. I wasn't old enough to really know that, because he bailed out before that. But neither was me nor my stepdad, Randy.
Right.
We butted heads all the time as I was in junior high and high school.
I remember that. You're like, dude, I was like, dude, tell him what's up. And you're like, dude, I can't tell my stepdad what to do.
Right. No, absolutely not. But me moving out right after high school, I mean, literally,
the best thing for you.
It was graduation, right? Grad night. We went to Disneyland, and I crashed at my girlfriend's house, and I got up the next day and I moved my shit out.
Yeah. That's kind of like the story for all of us, really. I moved out when I was...
You moved out really quick, too.
Yep. My parents made it very known, like, you're out of here.
Right.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Well, sorry to cut you off.
No, not at all.
But the thing that I do appreciate about my dad, he's very patient, and he let us really play our music, skateboard on that side of that house.
Yeah.
While he was working, like, we weren't quiet.
You guys had a quarter pipe.
We had a quarter pipe, dude. We had,
and it was on the driveway. We
fun
would
boxes, different rails, like,
yeah.
And he let us just do it, which I respect him for that. Most dads have been like, dude, you're not putting all that stuff in my yard.
Right. They're like, go do it at somebody else's house.
Right.
Not here.
But he preferred us to stay home. And I think that's what kind of hurt us, but also helped us at the same time. Because we never really got to go out. But when we did go out, we went out a little too hard. Hence, my younger brother got a little out of control, unfortunately. So
when's the last time you talked with Kev?
I catch Kev once in a while on this is the only other reason why I have Facebook, is that's where he's really at.
you have some family on there that's really what they use.
Yeah, and he's on there, so I on iMessage. I think that's what it is with Facebook. So I'll see him when he's on there. It'll show like who's on active, and sometimes I'll be able to catch him, and we'll send messages back and forth. And it's like we're little teenagers again, talking about the same dumb stuff we did that made us
really?
laugh.
Oh, good. Well,
But
that's good to hear. I'm happy to hear that.
I just wish he would just give up the drugs, man. You know, he's a good dude. He really is.
Oh yeah, I love your brother.
Everybody who's ever met him or become friends with him,
Yeah.
you know, love him.
Because again, like I also remember when he's, I'm not saying that he's so much younger than us, but like we were little kids, like when we became friends, and he was even younger than us. And
we're only 11 months apart.
Right.
He's right behind us.
Not even a year. So it's one of those things where it's just like, but I guess I talk about it that way because I'm referring to the fact that like, regardless of the ages, when you have friends and you go to their house, they always have their siblings.
Yeah.
And like, you go like, oh, that's their younger sibling or that's their older sibling. Obviously you guys with my sister and with my brother, it's like my brother's younger, my sister's older. And there's that whole dynamic. There's that funny thing.
Gap between everything. Where Kevin and I were just like,
you're
right here.
Well, that's true. But there's pros and cons. There's pros and cons to both. I can't try it. There's pros and cons to both, though. Like, obviously, being that close in age, there can be some cons. But one of the obvious pros, at least compared to when I talk about like me and my siblings, like you brought up, in a way makes it easier for you guys, I think, to bond on the same stuff. Because my brother and I, even though I love my brother, like
you guys
growing
are very
up,
different.
Growing up, it was tough, and it was tough because of me. I wasn't a good older brother. I had my own issues, and I just didn't look out for them like I should have. And so we fought a lot.
What do you think those issues were? Well, your dad, I don't know much about your dad. Your dad just bailed on all three of you, right?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's probably more to it than I'm aware.
Your dad?
Have I met him? Yeah. Like I remember him very well. I wasn't so young that it's like I don't remember him.
But you were young when he was.
Correct. Yeah, I was pretty young. Yeah, but I wasn't so young that I don't remember him. I was. God, I mean, I'm probably going to be wrong on this. Like I haven't really thought about the actual year, but I want to say I think when he was out of the picture and then my mom was single. Yeah. I want to say I was like, God, man, let me think. Sorry for all the dead dead air.
Take a minute.
I want to say
5? You were young.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say I'm just trying to use the logic here. We started high school in 2000. We're freshmen in 2000. So Randy, my stepdad, was already in my life during my middle school years. So 7th and 8th grade for us. And that would have been 98, 99. So I'm thinking I was probably like 8 or 9.
8 or 9?
Yeah.
And you haven't seen him since?
No.
God damn, dude, I'm sorry.
No, don't be. I mean, I think if I wanted to, I could reunite with him, but I just don't have a desire to.
I would be interested to meet your dad.
Yeah, you can go find him.
No, only when you want to.
Yeah, I mean, by all means, if you want. I mean,
but
I don't know how much you're going to find, but...
What's crazy is I have a lot of friends with that same particular story with their dad. Brad's dad's gone. Your dad bailed. My friend Tian, who I'm really close with, his dad's gone. My friend Abe, who I'm really close with, his dad bailed. It's like, dude, I don't know what it is about me, but a lot of my friends, their dad just dips.
Well,
and it's heartbreaking, man.
Yeah.
You know?
It is. I mean, it is. It is. And when you speak about it generally and you're just like from the outside looking in, like it is. It's pretty sad. But I guess I just think about like, well, it's not anything unique.
Would you ever want to see him again? Or you?
No.
Damn, that's tough.
It's one of those things where like I don't have it. I don't. It's
only if you want to talk about it, man.
I can.
It out.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I
business.
don't feel like you are. It's all good. I guess like it's one of those things where if I felt a certain way, then I would pursue it. But he left so early and didn't make that effort. And like, there's other things that I can get into detail, but like, I'm not, I mean, we could, as it goes, like just organically, but I'm not going to start listing all the stuff he did wrong. Like, I'm not going to do that.
Sure.
But when you factor all that stuff in, it's just kind of one of those things where it's just like, well, yeah, like I don't wish anything negative by any means. I don't harbor like negative feelings, and I don't hate him. I don't feel any which way. It seems to me like, with as much as I know, at the end of the day, he had kids young. He didn't want to have kids.
Yeah.
And not to say that that's an excuse to fucking bail, but, you know, when you have kids young and you never really wanted kids, I mean, I try to put myself in that person's shoes. I try to think like, well, I would never do what he did. I wouldn't just fucking flee the state, not pay child support, and fucking dip out and be like, oh,
leave your mom
all good.
3 kids going.
Oh, but
good luck.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude,
but
come on.
But there's still, even if it's only like 0.2% of me, there's still a percentage of me, or 0.02. There's just, you know, there's still a small part of me that I try to put myself in his shoes, and I try to think to myself like, okay, well, if I was a guy in my 20s and I had a child and I wasn't entirely sure if I wanted to be a dad, and the next thing you know, I blink and I've been in this relationship with somebody I'm not really in love with for however many years, and now we have another kid, and I feel like I don't want to do this. Again, I wouldn't have handled it the way he did, but it's clear from what you even just described with all your friends. I mean, my situation, it's not unique. Sadly, that's the saddest part, is that it's way more common than it should be, that people's dads fucking bail, dude. That they're just like, yeah, I'm not about this. And you're like, well, then you shouldn't have fucking gotten someone pregnant. You know, like I get that mistakes happen.
3 times.
Well, that's the other thing. I mean, and
that's what trips me out.
Well, yeah, and you're right. Like
the first one, you should have been like, okay, we had a kid and it's not really my thing, but to go 2 more, I'm glad, because I would have met your whole family and be connected with your whole family, who I love and adore.
Not only would I not have been here, but Nick certainly wouldn't have been here.
Yeah. And your older sister, who's always been super kind to us, and Eddie, her husband, very kind as well.
Man, I love them. They're awesome.
And so, you hear those fireworks? Dude?
That's what I was wondering. I was like, is that fireworks? But I thought they were
Pioneer Day. Dun, 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 There's Joseph Smith Day. Joseph Smith Day.
Well, I was gonna say it sounded like fireworks, but I thought they were prohibited in this area, sir.
Oh, you saw the signs?
I did.
It's funny. They have the signs, but they sell it right up the street. All the fireworks in the world.
Oh, really? I didn't even see that. They have a fireworks stand just up the street.
It all TNT right out there for you.
Oh, that's so weird. Like,
it's just because Utah's so dry right now.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean,
they want all these. They're tired of putting out fires. Which they start, in my opinion.
Hey,
conspiracy theory.
Well, I mean, there's stranger conspiracy theories than that, for sure.
So, going back, I didn't mean to cut you off, but your dad, had 3 of you, and
again, married this whole time with my mom. It's not like they were just like together and he never committed. Like, they were married.
They're married.
They got married, and they were married before my sister was born. And then again, like, the problem is I don't have a lot of information to give on it, because my mom, as you know my mom, she's not really the most vocal person. Like, she won't really just spill.
Oh no, you guys are talkers when you guys get going.
You're right, but you got to understand, like, for everything that my mom, well, she might talk fast, but like for everything that my mom will disclose, you can be certain that there's a lot more that she's not disclosing.
Do you think she does that just to kind of protect you guys? Like, as a mom, she's like, I don't want to tell my kids just to get them more upset at the situation.
I think early on that was the case, but I think as we all got older and became adults and started our own lives and moved from the nest, I don't think that was the case. We just never discussed it, because, like, as I've kind of disclosed here, like I don't have a desire to like know my dad. So if I did, one of the first things I would do would be to want to ask my mom about some stuff. But my mom, she's not the biggest fan of him. So like, it's not something I want to bring up, and like, it's just been so long. Like, I don't want to bring up stuff that nobody wants to talk about. Like, I don't even want to talk about it. Like, I'm certainly not going to bring up to my mom. Like, hey mom, like, even though I'm not super like curious, I'm curious enough to ask. I'm just, just wondering, like, that's not there. Like, I'm very much like, well, I don't plan to pursue any relationship. I mean, dude, honestly, for all I know, he could not be alive. For all I know, he might not even be on this planet anymore. I mean, I hope that's not the case. But I mean, I have no idea. I haven't heard from him in forever, But again, I don't see that as a sad thing. It is sad in general. Like, generally speaking, somebody's parent bails, like leaves the other parent high and dry. Like, it's not a good thing. But I don't look at it like poor me. And for a couple of reasons we already went over. Like, one, I know I'm not unique. If anything, I'm really lucky with a lot that I've had. I mean, I've had a lot of shit happen in my life, as most, if not everybody.
Dude, I've seen you.
But I've also been really lucky.
Yeah.
I've also been really lucky though. When you could always compare yourself to other people and go, hey man, like, I'm bitching, complaining over here, but I can't imagine being in their situation. Yeah. Like, truly, if you're being honest, you're like, I might act like I know what they're going through, but the truth is they just lost someone they loved, or like there's a situation like, I mean, I think about that. I go like, well, I had somebody who just didn't love enough and didn't want to stick around. But like, what if you have somebody that is fully committed, love you with every fiber of their being, but then you lose them? Like, so many people lost people to COVID. It's just that kind of shit. Like, that stuff breaks my heart. And that's where I go, I don't feel bad about myself. Like, and again, I get what you're saying earlier, where you're like, well, like, have you ever had a desire to like meet him? If I ever had a desire to like reunite with him and just kind of talk with him as a man now, like man to man, I mean, I would have done it, but I just don't. Yeah. And I don't mean that negatively. I just genuinely don't. It's so weird. Some people, I mean, I don't think you have a hard time understanding this, but other people I have mentioned it to, they do kind of have a hard time wrapping their brains around it. They go, but that's your dad. And I'm like, you don't understand, man. Like, when they bail when you're that young, like 9 or 10, and all the memories you do have of when they're around were always, not always, I will give him this. It's not like everything he did was shitty. Sure. But he left more often than not. More often than not, what he did was shitty. Like, even when he's around, I'm saying, like, more often than not, what he would do was not okay. So it was one of those things that, like, once he was gone, I felt relief. I wasn't one of those people that felt like, oh, like, now I'm going to hate the world because I don't have a dad. I actually felt relief. I felt better that he was gone. Yeah. And that is partly why, like, I'm happy. Like, I'm good. Like, I mean, Randy, my stepdad, he's my dad. Like, if I'm out with people, I mean, I introduce him as my dad. I mean, he is my dad. I mean, we've talked about that. Like, it's just like, biological, connection with people, like having a biological family. I mean, that's something, you don't choose that. You're born into that. And that can happen anytime. Like, that's a luck of the draw. It's a luck of the lottery. But at least your friends and stuff, like you those are people you can choose. You can choose your family. And I feel like now in my mid-30s, I've been so lucky to have great friends. And again, I have a great family. I love my mom. I love my stepdad. I love my brother and my sister. And, but at the end of the day, what helped me a lot with the normal teenage angst and just trying to find your way in life and feeling like you don't belong and feeling like you're a fucking loser, friends like you and Brad and lots of people helped. That was the big help. Because like you were saying, like, I'm also 5 years separated. I'm the middle child.
Dude, I'm the middle child.
There's other issues there, as we know.
Middle child syndrome is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing. Anybody who tells you it's not is real.
It's real.
I have a cousin up who lives in Portland. He's a middle kid. I'm like, bro, did you ever? He's like, you don't even need to explain.
He's like, I already know what you're gonna say. I already know it.
I was like, do you ever feel? He's like, yeah, dude. I'm the middle kid. I know exactly how you feel. Yeah. I was like, damn, it's real.
It is. Yeah.
It's so real.
Yeah. But with that said, I was bringing it up because my sister, we're all 5 years apart. You know, my sister is 5 years older than me, and then my brother is 5 years younger than me.
Wow, dude.
So we're all 5 years
plan.
apart. Yeah, for real. It just happened that way. And like, you know, there was time when I was growing up and going through the shit I talked about, the normal teenage angst, but even beyond the normal stuff, like the stuff that, you know, is really, you know, tough for me personally and like different stuff like that. Like, you know, I didn't really have siblings either because like, even though my sister was there and she always like supported me and loved me, like we're 5 years apart. So if I'm 14 going through this at the time, you know, like she's 19, she's already moved out of the house.
She's done.
She's already doing her own thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, my brother, he's 5 years younger than me, you know, so
he can't relate, dude.
He's 9 years old.
Pokemon.
He's the age that I was when our biological dad left. You know, and it's like one of those things. It's like, dude, he's only 9, and not that he doesn't understand what's going on, but like I said, man, like that's if I'm gonna give any freaking if I'm gonna drop any major news on your podcast, it's that I always feel guilty about not being a better older brother because I mean I love my brother, but looking back, I definitely could have been way more supportive, way more protective, and I just wasn't because I was in my own little shit, and I was a little too self-absorbed in that time, and I'm not even talking about like right or wrong, but that's just how things were going, and I look back and I'm just like, yeah, I definitely could have connected and bonded and like been more present with my brother growing up, but I wasn't, you know, and part of it was the 5-year age gap, but another part of it was just all the shit, and I was just ready to get out.
Yeah.
And I wasn't looking after him. And again, I'm not that he needed it. Like at a certain age, he didn't need me looking after him. But I'm talking about like I said, when I was like 14 or 13 and he's like 8 or 9, you know, like I wasn't doing what I should have done as a good older brother. So we all have a certain amount of regret in our lives. That's definitely some of my regret.
But I get it, man. But the beautiful thing is now you can be the good older brother that you always wanted to be.
Yeah, well, I can, but at the same time, like he's very much his own person now. You know, like we talked about, he's up in San Francisco. He's doing his own thing. He's got his own business.
Man, I always call up Chris. I'm like, "What do you think?" And he calls up me like, "What do you think?"
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
I get it, man. Like Chris says the same thing. He's like, "Dude, I wasn't there. I was like, yeah, but you were doing that. You were doing your thing. I was doing my thing. Kevin was doing his thing." And that's just how it is.
That is how it is.
You know, you're trying to figure your shit out, and you're 14. You got all this stuff just running through you. Your dad's not there, which is a huge. I mean, I don't care who you are. That hurts.
Yeah, it's not a fun time.
To make you feel like
a fun time.
To make you feel like, okay, my parents wanted a kid and they had me, and then my dad left because he didn't want to do it anymore. Like that would make me feel awful. Like, dude, I don't think even adults realize the damage they're doing.
Oh, they don't.
You know,
I don't think he did. I don't think he
Mom
genuinely
will take care
knew.
of him.
Like he wasn't thinking about that.
You know?
Right. No, I mean, and
I wouldn't be so hard on yourself, dude.
I hear you.
You're not alone in this
but
situation. Like, I went through it too. Chris went through it. Kevin went through it.
Yeah.
You know, Kevin always says, "I wish I would have been a little bit nicer to you." Kevin was a mean.
He was a
dude
little
to
rough
me.
around the edges for a period there.
Yeah, he was really mean to me. But you know, I bit back too. I wasn't gonna be like, "Dude, oh yeah," you know,
Right.
sibling.
Yeah, you
whatever.
guys would just get into arguments. Yeah.
But you know, that's just the thing. Don't be so hard on yourself. You're older now, and you guys get to spend like real quality time together.
I want to do more of that. I want to go
appreciate
up there and
things.
visit them.
You should, dude.
I mean, now that they're up there, I want to go up. Yeah,
You know?
start trying to.
When Chris and I get together, it's like, this is our time, and no one's gonna interrupt our time, and we have a great time together.
How
We couldn't have done that when we were younger. We couldn't really appreciate the value of spending time together, I should say.
I can see that. Well, how often are you and Chris getting together?
I try to get
Since
together
he's,
at least twice a year. He's a busy fella.
I know.
I'm pretty steady with my schedule. I'm not that busy. The door is always obviously open to him. I always tell him, dude, come up whenever you want, man. I'll give you, the key to the house and make yourself at home if you want to come here on the weekend. I'm even working. If we don't see each other, if you need to, whatever, use it as a second home. But he's busy with his kids, rightfully so.
Yeah, no, I understand if he's spending time with the kids, then for sure, 100%. Yeah. But it's just, I mean, like you talk about, like it's like a bummer. Like it's kind of sad to hear that stuff. Like you guys aren't too far from each other. Like to only see each other twice a year, it's a bummer.
I know. I wish. It's hard, dude. Every time I always tell him, I was like, you seen that movie Hancock?
Yeah.
I always tell him, like, dude, that's how you and I are. Because when we find out, like, hey, you're the other super person, but if we're together, we can't be together because our powers fall apart. So we have to be apart so we could be strong. I was like, if we're together all the time, we would just be knuckleheads. So when we do get together, it's special. Every time.
Well,
it's
for
fun.
sure.
He's a funny dude.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't think
Chris
people realize how funny. He's been through a lot, man. Like, I know I've been through a lot, more than a lot of people in this world. That dude's got... He can one-up you in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah. And like I was saying earlier, I mean, I don't feel like my situation is particularly unique because it's not. Yeah. I mean, I don't think of myself as a victim in anything at all.
That's good. Most people would hold that and just be a
cisgender hetero
person.
White male. Yeah, like I right off the bat, I already won the genetic lottery. I mean, and I don't mean that as like a positive. I just mean like I'm very much aware that there's so many more people out there that got it way harder than me. And guess what? Their dad also bailed. So how am I special? Like, and that's why I never thought of myself as special. And I guess maybe that's also part of the problem. Like you're talking about, like when you feel like when a parent bails, like even if they don't say it to you, that's one of those things that it leaves a mark. Like they go, like they're telling you with their actions, yes, that like you're not worth sticking around. It's that kind of thing. So I definitely grew up. You can go two different ways, I think, right? You can either go the way of going, oh, okay, I'm not good enough, huh? I'll fucking show you. Yeah. I'm going to dominate. I'm going to create a fucking empire, And then there's the other kind of person that's like me. I fell more into the category of, oh, well, maybe there's some truth to that. And like, even though I never lost complete confidence in myself, obviously I had enough confidence to, join the band with you guys and actually play shows and that kind of stuff. But like at the end of the day, it was always small little snippets of like confidence, but like to have general overall confidence as a person. And going like, oh, like I know who I am. Yeah, no, that fucked me up. I didn't have that. But again, most people who have parents who like divorce or like there's like an issue like that, most people have that kind of issue where they just kind of go like, all right, well, but again, not all of them, but it's not uncommon for that kind of stuff to result in out of that.
Do you feel like you know who you are kind of now as an individual?
More than I've ever felt in my life, but I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I think
that's the best way I could describe it.
It's a very ongoing procedure of trying to figure out where you fit in, what you're supposed to do, what kind of person you're supposed to be, what kind of people fit your vibe. It's hard, dude. I still will get I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. But I will say I have gotten to the point, and people may say I'm crazy or weird, but that whole ice bath that I do, and where you really have to focus on being one with yourself.
You're not allowed to let your
8 minutes.
Your brain
cold
isn't
8 minutes.
Like like because of your conditions, like your brain is not able to wander.
Right.
You're forced to focus on the here and now. You're like, it is balls cold. And I just want to get out. And like you said, like, it definitely gets you focused in on what you're doing right then and there.
It triggers the weirdest thing, man. Because I've been in and out of therapy for the longest time. Over a decade, multiple medications, all this. And I was like, you know what? I stumbled upon Wim Hof, who's been around forever. Like, this is nothing new. Mm-hmm. It just took me a while to find him. I was like, what is this crazy dude about? And just the way he talks about like just being in the cold, just how you have to really focus on who you are as a person. Like you said, you do not have time to wander. Oh man, I wonder what work's gonna be like tomorrow. Like, you're too cold.
What are we gonna eat for dinner tonight?
Yeah, you're too cold and trying to keep your circulation to think about anything but what your body needs to stay alive. The basics of staying alive.
Right, just survive.
And the beautiful thing I've done is I put my little ice bath in the backyard there. I drop that water super cold. I hop in.
Do you check the temperature?
Like, yeah, I got a little Pinky the flamingo. Yeah. It has a little, and he's a little flamingo.
There's Pinky the flamingo.
Yeah, Pinky the flamingo. And, I get it down to about 50 is the furthest I've gotten it down, which is pretty cold.
It's pretty cold, man.
Some dudes drop into 30s. I was like, I don't know if I can get to 30. That's hard.
It's also hard to do just with your equipment. Yeah. I mean, like, that's a lot of ice.
It's a lot of ice, but I've gotten it down. And so I was like, let me see what this is all about. So I started off real slow. I started like in the 60s. I got it down to 60. I'm like, all right, I can handle 60. I got it down to 60 or 58. I was like, this is pretty cold. But there was a point where I was like, I can go colder. It's time to go colder because I'm not getting the same aliveness. I was like, let me drop this baby down to 50. 50 is a good... it's cold.
It's a little cold.
It's a little cold. So I got it down to 50. I hop in that thing. It is... You're just like, whew. Yeah, and dude, it takes me about...
I'm not interested.
It takes me about...
Not doing that.
4 or 5 breaths, dude. And I finally get in this weird synchronicity of just being in the moment. And the thing I come back to is I put it outside and I have where it's pretty warm right now and I'm able to kind of look out into the clouds. I look at the grass. I see the grass kind of moving and you really just hone in on that really specific moment. You see bees. There's bees back there and you can hear them.
You're way more present. You're like aware of the stuff that you would normally not be aware of. If you're just out in the backyard just doing something, you would never notice the bees. You would never notice the way
you notice them, but you don't hear them. You don't hear that. Right. But this, you're so honed in. It's like you hear that little and you're just like, whoa, where's that bee at?
Just getting in the tub,
and you can hear them just zipping by you. And dude, of all the therapy and all the medicine I've been through, that weird being cold has really just turned tables, dude.
Yeah.
Like my mood's better, my energy level's better. My body still hurts because I did a lot of damage with school, being constant with my not resting. Yeah. But overall, dude, I'm able to go to sleep. It's not like
huge because if you can't sleep, that just fucks everything else up.
You go to sleep and
it's just
I'm out.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I've done it so sometimes where I've done it and I've come back in. What I like to do is go take a hot shower, let your body kind of come back to you, and then you just go take a nap for a couple hours, dude, because your body has been through something that you can't really explain.
Right.
And a lot of people have watched the vlog I've done with my video. They're like, dude, the cold, F that, dude. I'm not getting in that. I'm like, I used to think the same way. I'm like, dude, that seems so uncomfortable. And it is. Trust me, it's hard to be. Once you put your feet in there, you're like, ah.
Like, damn.
But as you settle in and you drop your body in there, it's remarkable what your body is able to get through. If you really just... I pushed it a little too hard. I went 10 minutes not too long ago, even though 2 minutes my normal limit. I usually go 8 is the breaking point for me. It's like, okay, it's time to get out. So I was like...
At that point, you're just shaking too much, and you're just like, dude.
Yeah, your body temperature... I haven't got to the point where I'm... the problem is I got too relaxed, and I slowed down my breathing instead of keeping it up. And I got too relaxed.
Started to get sleepy.
You start to get sleepy in that water, and you're like,
good.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you don't want to fall asleep in cold water. Ice cold water.
So luckily I got out and I had to sit out in the sun for a minute. I was like, whoa, dude, I took it too far. But now I know I need to breathe a little bit harder because my body I wasn't shivering at all. 8 minutes hit. I was like, that was only 8 minutes. Let me go further. You know, I'm not even cold.
And this is after you've been doing it for a while. Like you worked yourself up to it.
This took a couple months to get to. This wasn't overnight. Some people dive right in. I don't recommend that.
It might be a little too much of a shock to the system if you're not used to it.
You'll get sick too. Your body's like, dude, it's too much. Like you're too much too soon. So that's why I went from 60. You know, you work your way down, and I can handle 50, no problem, and get right in and just.
Cold.
And it's cold. Some
it
people
doesn't
like
sound
that.
cold, but it is.
Some plungers who are like advanced, like, dude, this ain't cold enough. I'm like, dude, it's cold. 50 is cold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that technically colder than the Pacific a lot? Like, I mean, the Pacific Ocean gets cold, but like, it doesn't usually get below 50. No, I mean, like, it's pretty cold.
I don't know about the Pacific. Pacific is generally always cold,
right?
For sure.
That's what I'm saying, though. But I mean, like, I've only ever known the Pacific Ocean. I've never even jumped into the Atlantic Ocean. So, I mean, it would be a trip for me to jump into the ocean and find it to be warm because I always experience, like, to me, going and jumping in the ocean, like, again, just because I've grown up in Southern California and, you know, like, that's part of the rush. You just jump in and like that water hits you and you're like, exactly, whoo, and then you feel good and you just jump into another wave and you just keep going.
Energetic. It's gnarly, dude. I didn't want to believe it. I don't know why I'm going on this tangent, but
no, I'm interested.
But I was like, dude, I think this guy, he's my type of crazy, like. Because he said the things I always think about. I'm like, why am I so depressed? Why am I so anxious? I can't sleep? What is it? What is it that I'm lacking? And he said all this. He's like, you want to stop being anxious? You want to stop being depressed? Like, and he goes into everything. He's like a little philosophical dude. And just from sitting, this guy lost his wife to cancer. Like, he had every reason he wanted to take his own life, and he was just strolling around where he lived, and he saw some cold water with a thin sheet of ice. He's like, you know what? I'm going to jump in. I'm going to see what that... He just jumped in and developed new breathing styles that circulated your bloodstream and your heart, and it's scientifically proven, too. He did experiments on himself, and he's like, I can beat that. And he was injected with some sort of like compromised immuno disease that wouldn't kill him, but like for sure it would have made you sick. Like you're gonna get sick with the flu or whatever. He's like, I can beat it. I can stimulate my own immune system, and he beat it. And he trained other people. They're like, this is a fluke thing. He's probably one of those weird dudes. He's like, nah, I'll show you. And he trained
other people to do it.
He trained other people with breathing techniques. He's like, this is how you do it. And they all beat it too.
That's awesome.
So to sit here and be like, nah, this guy ain't legit. He's just a weird dude who likes cold water. I was like, not really. Like, not really.
There's more to it than you guys are giving credit.
Yeah. Like, we have masked depression and everything with everything you can think of. Like, therapy has never really worked for me. It's been like, okay, someone to talk to, but it'd be no different than me talking to you.
You don't think so? I feel like some people...
It gets repetitive. Therapists get repetitive after a while. Like, well, how do you feel? Like, we don't really solve anything. We just talk about same stuff I would talk to you privately, and we don't solve anything. It's just for me to talk to somebody. And I've never really gotten anywhere with it. Some people really thrive with it.
Oh, yeah,
I'll never take that away from them.
Yeah, there's some people that seem like they again, the main reason why they go is because they can't confide in even their closest friends or family some of the shit that they got to get off their chest. Yeah. And so they're like, I'm gonna tell a stranger, and not only a stranger obviously, but like a professional who can actually help maybe guide me through this so that I can work it out. But like you're saying, I think that those people are the ones that really benefit from it because they know what they're getting into that, and it's not anything that they are comfortable with sharing with anyone else. They're just like, look, behind closed doors, this is how I really feel.
Yeah.
And they would never tell their wife that, or never tell their kids that, or whatever, you know? And then it's up to that professional to be non-judgmental and be like, all right, let me help you work through this.
Yeah.
You know, but that, again, this is coming from a person who hasn't actually had therapy. So I don't know shit.
No, but you know what you're talking about, because you're exactly right. Because some people really can't be like, dude, if I tell my friend, what if they slip and tell somebody, and then it gets back to so and so?
That's true. Yeah.
So the therapy,
or just if they're gonna judge you, like you don't think they will because they're your best friend. But even then, even though they're still your friend, they still love you after that. You can't help but feel like your relationship's a little different now that you told them the full truth.
Right.
It's one of those things.
So it has its place. Don't get me wrong, but for me, my life has been so gnarly, with so many like just ups and downs and constant pain. I can't remember the last time I've not been in pain.
Physical pain. Yeah,
physical pain, just from
ankle,
all the surgeries,
or your back, or your
I mean, from day one, man. I was born with cleft lip and palate. I talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
From day one, I've had surgeries since I
you
could
had
remember.
a lot of surgeries when you were a kid, right? I mean,
Always
we're
in
talking
pain.
about several, like.
And I always think about, lately I thought about, like, what if the anesthesia is finally showing its true self? I was under a lot of anesthesia as a baby. Even growing up to my mid-20s, having all these surgeries under anesthesia, I'm like, what if it just jacked up my brain and just made me, like, think and twist my brain around to be just so, like, off with a lot of things with myself? And I started looking into it, and they say, like, prolonged, like, constant anesthesia can really, like, change the chemical tuning of your brain.
Mm-hmm. I feel like there's a lot there that we can still learn. Because, I mean, like, you talk about people, like, you hear stories about people, like, they have a traumatic brain injury when they're young, you know, even if it's not a traumatic brain injury, like, as far as they know. Like, again, you're talking about, like, maybe people that grew up in the 60s to 70s or whatever, and, like, maybe they hit their head on the pavement, like, really hard when they were younger. And that was of the time and era where they're just like, oh, you rang your bell. Like, are you okay? Like, your head's not broken. Like, you don't have a cracked skull. You'll be fine. You know? But the truth is that person was heavily concussed.
Yeah.
And then they just went back out and did their normal shit. Maybe they hit their head again later that week. And it's like, that can fucking change people's personalities, man. Yeah. I mean, there's you know, examples of that. Like Roseanne Barr is one of those people. And I know Joe Rogan's mentioned that, like, because he actually knows her and he's friends with her personally. But I knew that even when I watched Roseanne. Like, I learned about that.
Yeah.
I don't remember how I learned about that. It's one of those things, like, I learned through the grapevine. Like, I just, like, remember, like, learning that, like, Roseanne Barr is this comedian and she's funny, but she's very, you know, like, she could be a lot. She could be vulgar. She could be, like, you know, and a lot of people not only were not expecting that from a woman, but also just in general, like, they were just like, well, where's that coming from? But, you know, there's reasoning behind that. I don't think she was just always that way. And even then, like, we're talking about somebody at the end of the day, like, I think there's another person I'm trying to think of too that had a similar situation, another comedian, like, but yeah, the point is just like you said, like, you start messing with your chemical makeup of your brain, or you get concussed a couple of times when you're a kid, it could have crazy consequences. I mean, I don't know if I would say, like, 100% like that's what happened with you, but I also wouldn't dismiss it. I also wouldn't be like, oh yeah, no, that's not true, man, don't even think like that.
Maybe,
you know,
I don't know, because there were some points where, I mean, the surgeries weren't like back to back to back to back to back, but I had a surgery once or maybe twice a year up till I was about 26.
Really? Even until your 20s?
Yeah.
Shit. Like, I feel like I should have known that. But, like, I knew you had them like that often when growing up.
Yeah.
At home.
When I was younger, I had a lot more. I maybe
so you had like
couple,
multiple year. It wasn't just 2 year or whatever.
Yeah. I
it was
maybe
multiple.
Because that was your growth spurt is just like humming. So I just had a lot. I was under the knife so much. And I don't know, dude. I think about it. I'm like, maybe I have to do something so gnarly to knock off something that I've been through so gnarly, you know?
like a gnarly for a gnarly. Because like surgeries and being under anesthesia is tough even for a kid, dude. I remember some points where it was kind of easy, and then I remember some anesthesia where I was like, no, I don't want to, and then you fight it,
Right,
and you
yeah.
go under.
I've had a few surgeries, so I've had
Yeah.
anesthesia. I know what it feels like. It's a trip.
It's a gnarly feeling.
It's a
where he's
trip
like,
to be
"Nope,
talking with people. The next second, you're in a different room,
And then you wake
some
up.
different person comes up to you, and they're just like, "Oh, do you want some? You want some ice chips? You want some?" And you're just like, "Okay, I guess 3 hours or 4 hours just passed, and like, I mean, I was expecting this, but also." This is a total mind fuck because I was just talking to someone else, and now I'm in a completely different place.
Well, yeah, and
It's scary.
What trips me about it, I don't think a lot of people know, because I've been in the operating room with all my schooling and things like that.
Right.
They put you on that fine line of death. Like, they keep you...
You mean when you're under to
under.
have surgery?
Yeah, they keep you right here, and they make sure you don't drop here or there. You know what I mean? They slow everything down just that fine point.
That's why anesthesiologists are so important, man.
Yeah,
they got to be regulating that stuff. They got to make sure.
Dude, I've seen these fools watching movies.
Oh, no, you're right.
Bro.
No, you're right. They do crossword puzzles, fucking around. But no, you're right, though.
They're like, hey, your patient's waking... Because you'll see patients like, oh, they're starting to come out of it.
Yeah, that's scary.
And they're like, doctor, your patient's
they
waking
jump in,
up. And they
adjust
just go,
something.
And
Yep. Oh, he's gone again. Okay, yeah, don't worry about it. I'll go back to my my crossword puzzle now.
I'm going to watch my movie now. Yeah. Like, these fools ain't paying attention, dude.
No. Yeah. but you're right, though. I mean, like, that kind of stuff, and it's scary to hear, but I mean, there's some truth to that because they're human. These are anesthesiologists that are human, just like you and I, and they are going to be subject to the same type of emotions and feelings that all humans have, and there's going to be some days that even though their job is literally life and death, they're just like, it's so routine. I've done this so many times. I can do this in my fucking sleep.
Yeah,
all right.
That's a trip,
They're
dude,
set.
huh?
Oh, yeah. It's scary. I mean,
It's
I feel like surgeons do the same thing.
There's no problem. And they sit there and watch their movies.
And surgeons, but surgeons could do the same. Like a heart surgeon, a cardio, doctor. Like they can cardiothoracic surgeon or something. Like they can come in and they can just like they've done probably so many surgeries depending on their age and stuff. They'd be like, dude, like I've done so many of these, like double bypass. I've done so many.
Dude,
of these.
the heart is no joke.
But you're right, it's not. But like they take it like anything else. And again, I'm not even painting it out to be like they're like evil for thinking this. It's a human nature.
Yeah,
you start doing something regularly, and the next thing you know, you do it all the time. And next thing you know, you feel like genuinely, I could do this in my sleep because I've done thousands. Like it's not jaded. But whatever other term that is, like, it's just you get to that point, you're just kind of like, I know what I'm doing.
Second nature. It's a habit at that point. It's second nature.
Becomes habit for me.
Yeah, I got it. Like, oh, doctor, this so yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
And they just I'm like, dude, have you ever seen a heart? Somebody opening up? That looks. I'd be so confused. I'm like, what are we doing?
Even then, like, yeah, but like, man, I feel like these doctors, as long as, I've always thought to myself, like, I don't even care if my doctor is a egotistical, I am God's gift to the world. I cure, I heal.
You cure diseases, bro.
I am just as good as God. Like, I don't care. I don't care if that's the doctor's attitude, as long as he takes care of me. As long as when I'm under, he actually does the surgery successfully and I wake up and I make a full recovery because of his expertise. Honestly, I mean, I'm not saying it's a great attitude to have, but let them. I don't give a shit. Think as highly of yourself as you want, as long as you don't let me die on your table. Like, that's my idea. I would much rather have an egotistical piece of shit scumbag doctor that performs every surgery he does perfectly, rather than have a doctor who has great bedside manner and really cares about you, but you're gonna die if he does surgery on you because he does not know what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very clear choice. I'd much rather choose the former.
Yeah, I always look for like senior doctors now who aren't too jaded, but also have experience.
But they know what they're doing. They've been around long enough.
They're like, you don't need to tell me. I got it. Oh,
right.
Okay. Fair enough, dude.
True.
Or girl.
I can imagine you.
Dudette?
Dude or dudette. I can imagine you being in like a doctor's office and like you see a doctor comes in and maybe they're only like maybe they just finished their residency like a year ago, and I could see maybe like, okay, but at the same time, like, I kind of want somebody who has been dealing with patients a little more often. Not that residencies don't, but I can understand that.
But they're residents.
It's very different. It is very different compared to actually
kind
being
of person.
Yeah.
Because they're very much trying to figure it out. And I'm kind of iffy with PAs too. Don't get me wrong, they're smart people, very smart, but I don't know. I question that too.
You're one of those people that, like, when you go into to see your doctor and they're like, "Oh, your doctor, Doctor So and So, they're actually not in today, but the physician's assistant will be seeing you," and you're like, "Man,
Fly right there.
is there a fly? Oh wow,
See it?
yeah,
Get out of here, fly.
he was about to crawl into my mouth. Thank you, sir."
You know what? At that point, I don't really, because PAs have to double check with physicians. I don't know if people really know that. Just because they walk in like, oh, you're gonna see a PA. They don't know. Well, the physician double checks what the PA went through.
Which actually sounds good. I
Yeah,
mean, you want
they're
multiple
legit.
people to like kind of
Look
maybe,
at the
and they
file.
go, "Hey, wait a second, you missed something here. He said
Right,
this.
right,
He said he's
right.
allergic to this or whatever."
Yeah. So it's not to take them less for granted. Don't, because I've met some PAs who are phenomenal, and then I've met some PAs who are like, dude, where's the doctor? Get them in here.
Well, yeah, I've talked with you long enough.
Yeah. You're guessing. I don't like the guessing game.
You're right, man. You want a
know?
doctor who's confident. You don't want a doctor that's like, well, I mean, let's fucking give it a shot. Let's see what happens. Come back in a month. You're just like, all right, well, I want a little more confidence behind your suggestion than that. Like,
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not here to harp on PAs. They're phenomenal. They have their place. They're very much needed. But, there's good and bad, and there's good and bad doctors, too. There's good and bad nurses, good and bad CT techs, X-ray techs. Just go down the line.
There's good and bad busboys.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not comparing
There's
doctors
good
to
and bad
busboys, but
waiters.
I'm saying that, it doesn't matter. Every field, there's going to be some people that are good at what they do because, I don't know, they got a knack for it, or their passion pushes them to get better. And then there's going to be some people that fucking suck at it. There's always going to be that spectrum, no matter what industry. And sadly, you don't want to think about it as your medical professionals are a part of that, but they are. Some doctors fucking suck, man. Some doctors should not be doctors.
Yeah.
I used to credential physicians.
Yeah, you know all about.
Yeah, I used to see all kinds of
those
malpractice
dudes.
cases, and I'd be credentialing, or rather, what? I'd be putting together their application for reappointment if they had, like, say, admitting privileges at a hospital, and they have to get reevaluated every 2 years in order to maintain those admitting privileges. Like, I'd be doing that. And, like, in the last 2 years, you see some of these malpractice cases. And again, I mean, we know there's people that'll sue for anything. So a lot of those are really frivolous.
Yeah.
But there's some you look at and you go, holy fuck. Like, that doctor did what?
You cut off the wrong toe.
This is a real story. So the doctor was performing as a plastic surgeon.
Okay, don't give me names.
Oh, fuck no. I'm not doing that shit.
Yeah.
No, this is just a doctor. I don't even remember his name. I can even give it to you if I wanted.
Okay, good.
But he's a plastic surgeon. And so he left in the middle of surgery. He sponged her up and left. Just left.
Where'd he go?
Oh, go take care of some personal business. It's not disclosed. He didn't actually say what he said. He had to take care of something. It was important. He came back almost 2 hours later and then finished the surgery. And meanwhile, this family of this woman is wondering, why is this surgery taking so long? Like, you told us it would be a 3-hour surgery. It's now almost 5 going on 6 hours.
Yeah.
What happened? Well, guess what? While they're asking that in the middle of surgery, like, they can't even tell him, like, well, no, but the doctor's not in. The doctor literally left the OR and he's just out. He's just not here. Oh, your loved one is on the table still under anesthesia, and they are sponged up to keep from bleeding out.
Yeah.
Just long enough so that when the doctor gets back in an hour or so, he can finish up.
What? Where did he go? What was he doing?
I don't know,
dude?
but I think it's safe to say that
Scumbag.
I think it's safe to say that it doesn't matter what it is. There's no excuse to just leave in the middle of a surgery that you're performing. And he did it, and he got sued for it, rightfully so. And I see that kind of stuff. And I'm saying, and again, I didn't just credential cosmetic surgeons. I credentialed everything from podiatrists to oncologists to, just primary care physicians, physician assistants, I would even. And I didn't do it long. I'm not saying like I'm an expert and I know all this shit, but like I did it a long time ago. I did it for a couple of years, and I learned what we're talking about, that it doesn't matter what profession you're talking about. There's some people that are going to do it really well, and some people are going to be really bad at it. And it's up to you to make sure that you navigate the waters properly so that you're getting the right treatment. Because a lot of people, if they just fully blindly trust into any doctor that they meet, there's a decent chance that you're just fully trusting in a doctor that maybe has no business being a doctor. And at the very least, they're a bad one. Yeah. Like maybe they did graduate and they are a doctor. They have they are an MD or they are a DO. But like at the end of the day, if you go look into their schooling, you find out they're like the bottom of their class. Like they barely fucking passed medical school. Like you start learning about that shit and you go, okay. So yeah, no, it's true. Not all these people are created equal. And I think it's scary because like we were talking about, a lot of people, they just want to trust. They just want to go into a doctor's office and they go like, I'm not feeling good, or I feel sick, or like whatever. And they just want to hope that person is going to make them feel better. But me, and I know you, like we go in with a certain amount of skepticism because we're just like, I want to make sure that this person has my best interest in mind, or that they're actually hearing me and not just dismissing me. Because a lot of people they get dismissed and they don't fight, they don't stick up for themselves, and then maybe they die later because they never got properly diagnosed or whatever, And again, I mean, we're going deep, but like that shit happens.
It does.
It happens
more often than what people realize.
You're right.
It's a bummer that in the medical field that doctors don't simply just listen to what the patient wants, because like we talked about earlier, it's their body.
Yeah.
When it feels off, just listen. Hey, man, I got this pain here and so. Usually I don't have this. Can we check it out? Mm-hmm. And the doctor just be like, absolutely. What would you like to do? You think an X-ray? And the doctor should be a little more advanced and like, well, what? Did you fall? No. Okay, it's not a fall, so it's not a break. Let's do an MRI.
Right.
Let's see where your shoulder's at. Let's get that going. In the meantime, ice it, heat it, till we see what the scan shows us. Then we can advance your treatment from there. That's how treatment should be. It shouldn't be like, all right, I went to school and they told me about, when I hear about this, I should go the opposite way. Motrin, Tylenol, really bad for your liver, but go ahead and do that 3 times a day. Okay. Ice, stretch. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That works.
That works. Okay. What were you saying?
Right. And you're just
what were you saying?
Dude, all the stuff you just mentioned is the stuff I told you either I've already done or like it's not going to help. And
or
you're not hearing
helped.
me. Yeah. No, man, it's rough. It's rough because, like we're talking about, it's important, man. I mean, you only got your health.
That's all you got at the end of the day is your health and your happiness.
You only got your health,
bro.
I mean, money can help extend your life to a certain extent, but we all know that, like,
you're all
disease,
gonna die.
Disease is it doesn't care. It doesn't care your financial status.
Yeah,
people
doesn't care if you've been a good person or a bad person.
No,
it's gonna do whatever it wants.
Yeah,
if your body decides you deserve, or not deserve, but hey, these cells are producing, let's produce more.
Right.
I don't know why, but let's do it. Okay, you got cancer. Sorry, your body does not
you
care.
Anything wrong. It's just this
doesn't care if you're a good person or a bad person. Yeah. You're not in control of your body unless you want to be.
Right. If you make the effort.
Where ice bath comes in, dude. It sounds crazy, but the moment, this is what I tell people. They're like, why do you do it? Why do you always talk about it?
I have no doubt it's great, but
so
it's just
the thing is, when you get in there, the moment you start shivering, your body's in control. you're no longer in control because your body's like, okay, your muscles clamp up. The moment you're able to shut all that down, you breathe, you keep your body circulating. Now you're in control. Now you get to tell your body, we're good. Stop freaking out.
Right.
Relax. Hang out.
It sounds like the same kind of thing you would tell yourself if you're in a 200+ degree sauna and you're just like, I've been in here for 20 minutes. I gotta get the fuck out.
Yeah.
But then you tell yourself, like, no, 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
Like, I can do 5 more minutes. And then you gut it out.
Yeah. So when I went for that 10
That
minutes.
mental toughness.
It was like, I could do 10. And then I got out and I was like, okay, I should have somebody here now if I'm going to go 10 minutes.
Well, yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah. It was a little
because I got too relaxed. I was like, dang, dude, I feel good.
Like your heart rate started going a little too low.
Yeah. Everything starts to calm down a little too much.
Right.
But I was in control the whole time. I knew I had to like get out soon. And my body was talking to me and I was talking to it like, let's see if we can go a little longer. Hang out. And I was in control, but then my body spoke up like, you need to get out. Like, okay, let me get out. But it's a weird like dynamic between you and your subconscious, conscious. I don't know what you want to call it. But that's that connection like a lot of us are missing. You know?
I think so.
We're too, head down, buried in your phone instead of like, hold up. There's something here that I'm missing.
Right.
And when you're able to connect with it, like, no, I'm good. And you hang out just in this area and you forget about all this, it's a trip. And it's natural. All you got to do is jump in some cold ass water.
Right.
And it's free.
Yeah, I think it does a lot.
know?
I think there's a lot of benefits. Obviously, I mean, when we start talking about like the physiological benefits and the mental benefits, but like even just the like you're talking about specifically being able to endure and like just having that mental toughness to go like, well, I'm gonna push myself through an uncomfortable situation.
Hate the cold. Ask Chris. I'm like, dude, I hate Utah. It's so cold. I used to be bundled up. Now it's like tank tops. Dude, I can't wait for winter. I can't wait to sit out in the snow and the ice. Just you turn into a whole different like animal.
Get used to it, You start adapting.
You're not like this little weakling. Like, oh, it's cold. I hate the cold. Embrace it, bro. Our ancestors embraced it. It's time for you. Like we've disconnected from the cold. We always want to be like this nice temperature. It's got to be nice and warm, or it's too warm, or
Yeah. I hear you, but like,
dude, it's a trip. I love it. Man, it's the right kind of crazy thing that I needed.
Yeah.
But
like even beyond the temperature, like this is what you're talking about. Like you said, just enduring something difficult.
Yeah.
When you say you think people have gotten away from that, I think you're right. Like we're not the only people to talk about this. This has obviously been discussed by many people over a long period of time right now. But like in the 21st century, like in 2021, especially here in North America, like we have so many luxuries, we have so many benefits, we have so many like we don't, if we just allow ourselves to just exist and you just go to work and just go home and watch TV and just hang out, like you can get so soft.
Dude,
you can become a person
real squishy.
Yeah, exactly. You forget what it's like to be challenged and then to rise up to the challenge. And instead of just bowing out and be like, no, dude, like you said, like, oh, that's way too cold. Fuck that. Like you have this attitude where you go, all right, I see the challenge. Like, I think I could do it. Yeah. I'm down to do it. Like you lose that confidence, you lose that ability to an extent when you just, it's like we talked about earlier at the beginning, you lose it. If you don't use it, you lose it. I feel like that's part of it. That's definitely, that plays into it too. It does.
Yeah, so my grandma is avid. She listens to everything I do. She watches all the videos.
Oh,
and
cool.
she watched the ice bath. She's like, no wonder your body hurts. That's cold.
Aww.
But I was like, Grandma, dude, I respect my grandma. I don't think she knows how much I respect her. That woman never complains. And if she does, it's for a hot second and then it's gone. Like she's been through wars, she lived through war. She raised like 6 kids on her own. That's the strongest woman I've ever known.
This is your mom's mom or your dad's mom?
My mom's mom. Strong woman. And I tell her about like my ice bath, and it's like it's making me like like you. Well, I stopped complaining about a lot of things that I used to complain about. Like, you think my life was hard? I sit and maybe watch not the news on TV, but certain news that I'm focused on. But bro, my life is pretty easy, super easy. Even with ice baths,
when you compare it,
it's the hardest thing I go through.
It shows.
You know what I mean?
It's a testament to just how easy we have it in life.
Super
when you
easy.
have to get into ice baths to find that feeling of that struggle.
Yeah.
Right. Other people don't need ice baths. There's some people in third world countries, they got plenty of struggle.
Dude,
already.
they just wake up and
they
go,
don't need
"God
an
damn
ice
it."
bath. Like
Yeah.
they've got enough
Yeah,
struggle.
yeah. They wake
For
up
sure.
to bombs going off.
For sure.
And we wake up to going, oh, gas prices are so high. You know?
It's almost $5.
Dude, it's almost $5 a gallon. Bro.
Yeah.
You know what I
Never
mean?
mind the fact that you're like, I have a car.
Yeah.
And I can fill it up and I can go where I want to go.
I get to eat any kind of food I want.
Yeah, I could drive. Yeah, exactly. I could stop at a drive-through along the way.
Yeah.
Like I have all these availability, all these benefits. But
Yeah.
you can forget about it.
It's been
easy to
super
forget.
humbling doing something that simple. And I know it sounds so repetitive how I'm talking. And it sounds like, dude,
What do you mean?
Because some people are like, dude, we get it. You do ice baths. Woohoo.
Oh, because you've mentioned it on
So many
other
times.
episodes. Hey, dude, again, like there's so many other podcasts. People like, don't lose your train of thought. But I just want to point out the great Stan Lee, right? He said, every comic is someone's first comic. Okay. So even if this is the first episode they've ever heard of your podcast, they don't know that you do ice baths. This is the first time they're hearing about it. So just like you were telling me, don't be so hard on myself about like past, like, failures, especially like as like an older brother. Don't be so hard on yourself talking about that kind of stuff because you're saying, I mean, dude, someone could just jump on this episode for the first time. They're like, oh, he does ice baths. But like, sure, there's other people that they've listened to every single episode, but okay, cool. Like I get it. But at the end of the day, every comic is somebody's first comic. Every podcast is going to be somebody's first podcast.
Yeah. True.
You gotta speak to them too. You can't just act like, oh yeah, hey everybody that's listening, yeah, you guys all know what's going on. So anyway, let's just jump forward. A lot of people, it's their first time. They're gonna be like, I'm lost. What were you guys talking about last week?
Yeah.
I didn't know you liked that. Like they're not gonna know. So it makes sense. I get it.
Yeah, that's true, man. Yeah, you make a valid point. I should stop being so difficult.
I just think that if you want to talk about something, it's again, we bring up Joe Rogan, but like I think part of the reason why he's been so successful is because he's just being him. He genuinely brings people on he likes to talk to. He wants to talk about stuff he's interested in. And that resonates. That
some real
comes
stuff.
through. If somebody's being fake, like that fucking comes through too.
Yeah.
But it comes through in a way that it's not appealing. But when you're genuine, man, it still comes through, but it is appealing. You go, oh, cool. So even if I don't really necessarily, I'm not even all that way invested in what these people are talking about in this particular episode, maybe, but like there's something that resonates with somebody where you're like, I like that person. That person seems like an okay guy. Yeah. And then you listen to another episode and another episode. And before you know it, you feel like you know them, even though you've never met them. Yeah. I think that's what celebrities deal with all the time. It's got to be tough when like you're just out and somebody goes, "Oh my God, I'm the biggest fan. I love your podcast," and or whatever. But then you're just kind of like, "Oh, cool." But like you have this weird moment where you're just like, this person knows almost like they know everything about me that I was willing to disclose publicly. Yeah. Like anything as a celebrity, like if you're Bradley Cooper or you're fucking, like Ryan Gosling. You're just you're like everybody that is a fan of me, they're going to consume all the info I put out there. So I want to be careful about what I put out there, But there's something about like when you put yourself out there and after so many years and you have a body of work, then I can only imagine, again, I'm not a celebrity, so I can only imagine, but like I can imagine it would be pretty weird to have some complete stranger who you've never met. They know so much about you and they feel like they have a connection with you because they've been listening to you for years and yet you don't know a thing about them. It'd be a little weird. And I feel like celebrities, they get, again, obviously some celebrities, they have their heads up their ass. But again, we're talking about people. It's just how some people are. But I know some celebrities, I feel like they get a bad rap if maybe they're just kind of like awkward or they're just like, I don't really know how to like, I don't, I gotta go. I got somewhere I gotta be or whatever. And then people are like, they were not what I expected. It's like, well, you had these crazy unrealistic expectations. You've been listening to somebody on a podcast for years and you expected them to be a certain way, but like, you don't know them. You guys aren't, you've never met before.
Buddies.
Yeah, they don't. And even if you feel like you know them really well, intimately, they don't know you at all. So like you got to be aware of that. And a lot of people, they get starstruck and they don't think about that. They're just like, oh my God, I'm a big fan. And I can see how it could get a little uncomfortable, like for a celebrity. I don't envy them. Let's put it that way. Any big celebrities like The Rock, like somebody that like would easily be recognized a mile away. Yeah. I admire his work. I'm a fan of his work, but like I don't envy that type of lifestyle. No. It takes a certain kind of person to be okay with that.
He's too much in the public.
Yeah, and he seems to relish it, which is great.
He seems to do well with it.
He does great, but like it takes a certain kind of person. There's Dwayne Johnson's don't just fall off trees. Dude, like he's a unique person.
He's a special dude. He's a funny dude, man. I like that guy. I hope to meet him one day.
Did you ever see Central Intelligence, the movie he was in with Kevin Hart, where like they played like I'm trying to remember like
where he was like the nerdy dude,
right? Yeah, but then they reunite, like they meet as adults, but like he's a CIA agent or something, and like Kevin Hart's like, what the fuck is going on? I actually never saw that movie. I only bring it up though because I've seen some clips of it. I need to actually watch it. I know it's old now, but like. It just seems like that was a big turning point for him where people went like, oh, dude, like we knew The Rock could like have he has good timing. He has that timing that's necessary to be able to do comedy, but he really displayed it in this movie. Like, and being opposite of Kevin Hart, it was a perfect chemistry. Like he's funny as fuck. We got to get him in more comedies, like more funny shit, like that seems like that was the moment. I could be wrong, but
dude, do you smell what The Rock is cooking?
Yeah, dude. Oh,
the jabronis, the eyebrow, dude.
And anybody that was a fan of wrestling for sure. I mean, they know and love The Rock.
Eyebrow raise
know him intimately.
Is something, dude. Special dude. Special dude of the world.
As if The Rock would ever kiss a piece of trash like you.
Yeah, dude.
He always referred to himself as the third person. As if The Rock would ever kiss a piece of trash like you.
Do you smell what The Rock is cooking? You jabronis. Dude. Funny. Well, man, this has been super pleasurable.
This has been great, man.
Thank you.
I've had a great time. Fuck, I could go for hours. It's awesome.
I'm gonna go for hours too, but we need to eat.
Oh, for sure. And you mentioned you wanted to. I'm pretty hungry too. But you mentioned, we got to do one. We got to set up a time, and then Brad, you and me and Brad, the three of us can just.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna do one with the three of us, and then him. Just gives me a lot more content to keep pushing out. That's why I want to do like individually and then together.
I understand.
Get people pieces of the story and then they can get the whole story.
Yeah.
Eventually. So
that's cool, man. I get it.
I have to map this out, dude. I have to map it out because I don't get you guys out here enough. So a lot.
Like I was telling you earlier, man. I mean, I'll come out more. Again, I want to. I'm purposefully keeping my life simple enough that, like I said, I could just pick up and go. If I want to travel, I can just go. Yeah. And I'm in a very lucky position right now that I don't have that responsibility, tethering me to any one place. Like I can go. So like at any given time, I could just hit you up like, hey, I want to come visit next month, and you'd be like, cool, and like I could just do it. So I'll do it more.
Yeah, please do.
Right on, man.
All right, buddy. It was good talking to you.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. And you want to leave with any like philosophical words or anything, or some music that you're into for people to check out? I used to do that. I'm always like going back and forth with all that kind of stuff. Anything? You want to share?
No new bands or artists. Yeah, stay in school, kids. No new bands or artists that I've been listening to recently. Which now that you bring it up, yeah, it's kind of like something I have to address. I'm like, oh, you know what? I haven't actually looked into new music lately. I've kind of just been listening to a lot of the same stuff. Which, granted, I have a very wide palette. Like I love a lot of different kinds of music, so I don't really just get stuck into one thing. But at the same time, it's all stuff I've already heard. I haven't really ventured out to like just check out brand new music I've never heard before. So I'll have to do that. So sorry, I actually don't have anybody to recommend.
All right.
But words of wisdom, I will say,
Smoke weed every day. I'm just kidding.
Weed every day.
Only jokes, folks. Don't do that.
Well,
you won't get anywhere.
Maybe he's joking, but
Maybe he's joking.
I know. I would say, it's just keep people that are important to you in your lives like you're important to me.
Likewise.
Yeah, you need to do that because it gets easy to get caught up in life, and then you blink, and next thing you know, you haven't been talking with those people in years, and it's a bummer. You know, we only have one life, so make an effort to engage with the ones you love. That would be my advice, and that's what I try to do.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, folks, engage with the ones you love. Keep them close. You only got one life.
And if you can't be with the one you love the one you're with.
Exactly.
I think there was a song about that.
I don't know.
No, there definitely is a song about that.
All right, thank you, folks. Appreciate you guys listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.